discussion on sustainability development in digital age and CSR. We are constantly surrounded by the modern technology innovations, be it electrical gadgets or any digital process, which tend to make our life easier. So I think it is safe that we are living in this digital age. After all this modernization, it has provided a safe passage for digital revolution, which brings our subject to sustainability. Sustainability means meeting our own needs and not compromising with the ability for the future generations. Taking it from digital age perspective, it means to connect to the tools of digital transformation, like enhanced connectivity and the Internet of Things, to improve the environment and support sustainable business operations. Similarly, if business assumes social responsibility as well, along with environmental concerns, it becomes a concept of sustainability in corporate social responsibility. So that's what is the theme of our panel discussion. But with every boom brings a portion of bane also with it. As highlighted by many researchers, digital technologies have mixed impact. On one hand, we have seen the positive effect of making processes efficient, while on the other hand, they prove to be a cause of destruction of sustainable value. Recent studies portray that climate change impact ICT manufacturing has doubled. We can say that sustainability impact is largely uncoordinated. As a result, the introduction of digital technologies can have unpredictable effects on individuals, industry, and society, which can be far spiral out of control. Sustainability in the digital age involves entire digital economy. Digital technologies like tracking devices can facilitate sustainable lifestyle, but reduce the need of physical contacts, thus changing the way communities form and function. Also, an important concept to be undertaken here is Industry 4.0, which refers to a new phase of industrial revolution that focuses heavily on interconnectivity, automation, machine transformation, but with sustainable development. However, if sustainability aspect is not taken care of, this transformation of industrial production through digitalization can, be viewed from different angles. Some companies and economies rejected the concept of idea of CSR because it's implied obligation on the society and future generations, beyond those contained in the binding legal requirement of the business. However, most companies now embrace some notion of CSR, it being made mandatory by law now in India. Both CSR and sustainability focus on helping companies run in a way that allow to be ethically profitable and make a positive impact on those around them. Companies provide a detailed sustainability report providing evidence to the fulfillment of social and environment obligations. Even though both sustainability and CSR sound similar, they are actually not. Companies have mixed sustainability with CSR, which is heavily resulting into greenwashing. But consumers have woken up to the greenwashing, which is where a company makes statement on their sustainability and report long and fluffy sustainability reports full of praise on their own efforts. So what I will like to conclude to start this particular session, sustainability and corporate social responsibility are different yet connected. CSR aims to build trust by looking good and addressing current issue. Sustainability is about action for long-term impact and ensures a healthy planet. So this is what we are going to talk here. A very, very important issue, which is, industry and every person is facing in this digitalization age. So now I welcome all the panelists who have joined us for this panel discussion. I have got some people, offline on the dais, and I've got some people who have joined online also. I will love to introduce all of them. First, we have Dr. CA Dheeraj Sharma. He's Vice President, Sankalp Management Consultancy Private Limited. He's a founder of Diwali eLearn. He's a chartered accountant by profession and a social reformer by passion. He is an immediate past chairman of Gurugram branch of NIRC of ICAI. He is a doctorate in HR practices for sustainable development. He has got certification in financial accounting and analysis from IIM Bangalore. And he is also an expert in emotional intelligence from IIT Kharagpur. and he's country representative from India in Asian Economic Council, and he's the founder of Sankalp NGO. And I would like all of you to give a warm welcome to sir. We are also joined by CA Praveen Kaushik. He has got 15 years of experience in IFRS advisory services, audit and insurance services, IPO advisory services, and has good knowledge of IFRS and IGAP gaps and standards in auditing. He specialized in gap conversion and conversion of IGAP gaps financials into IFRS. He has successfully steered various such assignments in different capacities and roles. Praveen, before starting his own practice in 2019, has worked with international accounting firms such as GT, Ernst & Young, BDO, and for more than 12 years. He's a regular speaker on these topics, and he's a professional and with the corporates. Once again, I welcome you, sir. Please give a big round of applause for Praveen, sir. I also have Mr. Gaurav Kapoor. Gaurav is head of policy at ACCA. His current role builds on over 16 years of experience in knowledge-based intervention and public policy through leadership. At ACCA, he is involved in identifying areas from policy perspective and share relevant thoughts, leadership, and professional insights to facilitate discussions which help to shape and lead the profession. Once again, Gaurav, I welcome you here. We also have Dr. Vinod Murthy. He is an industry turned academician who has a vast experience of over 17 years in engineering industry and 20 years in academics. Dr. Vinod holds an engineering degree in mechanical discipline, and he's MBA finance, marketing, and PhD in finance. During his engineering career, he has served organizations like Westmart, Forging Limited, LML Limited, Roto Pumps Limited, and many others. He has been to Germany and Bahrain for professional assignments. Currently, Dr. Vinod Kumar Murthy is associated with ISDC, headquartered at London in the capacity of National Head IT and Analytics, ISDC based at Bangalore. Dr. Vinod Murthy was awarded Saraswati Seva Puraskar by Lions International Club in Kanpur in 2008. And he's actually a passionate data analytics and currently engaged in writing a book on multivariate data analysis. Sir, I welcome you here. I give a round of applause for Dr. I have guests from a panel discussion, and 3 guests have joined online. I have CA Nirlep Bhatt. CA Nirlep Bhatt is a chartered accountant and law graduate with diverse experience of 17 years in banking, infrastructure, trading, and FMCG sector. And he has worked in organizations in India and Qatar, and currently working as group financial controller for local conglomerate group. He was privileged to be part of management committee at the Qatar chapter of ICAI for 7 consecutive years. And under his leadership as the chairman, Doha chapter has won first prize as the best overseas chapter for ICAI in 2021. Sir, I welcome you to this particular panel discussion. I'm also joined by Professor Mohammad Narula from Kingston University. He works at the Department of Accounting and Finance and Informatics, Kingston Business School, Kingston University, London. Up till very recently, he was the head of the department. And now Mr. Mohammed joined Kingston University in 2008. And prior to that, he worked full-time for 4 years as CAS Business School of City University, London. He has presented papers in Europe, North America, Australia, and other Asia Pacific countries. He has written over 50 academic papers and published papers in leading academic journals. And he has written a report for UK government and other national and international organizations, and supervised 18 PhD scholars. And he holds visiting position at Glasgow University and many other universities. And he's a chief examiner for Chartered Institute for Securities and Investment and Institute of Financial Services, London. Sir, once again, I welcome you to the panel discussion. And I have Dr. Fernando Barrio from Queen's Mary University, London. He is a lecturer in business law at School of Business and Management, Queen Mary University of London. He is also Director of International Engagement and Academic Lead for Resilience and Sustainability of Queen's Mary Global Policy Institute. Dr. Barrio is also the academic lead of the Resilience Future India Initiative an open partnership that is building relationship between India and UK, academic, civil society, policy, and industry leaders to design durable solutions for enhanced lives, communities, and systems in context of uncertainty. With over 25 years of experience of teaching, research, and engagement related to law and policy of e-business and digital environment in universities of Argentina, France, Japan, US, and UK, Dr. Berrio regularly advises local and national governments as well as international institutions, being the board member of private companies and Society for Computers and Law. So once again, sir, we welcome you here to this international conference. Last but not the least, I would like to introduce to Dr. Jones, who is the moderator for this panel discussion. Professor Jones, he is professor in the area of marketing at Great Lakes Institute of Management, Gurgaon. Dr. Matthew is a PhD from Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, New Delhi, and has 18 years of corporate work experience in Indian and multinational companies such as HCL, Macon, Yonex, and Reebok. His last held corporate position was VP Sales and Marketing at Indo-US joint venture. In addition, he has got 13 years of academic teaching experience as a professor in marketing. Dr. Matthew's core area of corporate experience were in sales, product and brand management, vendor development, retail operations, and marketing. In academics, he teaches different courses like marketing management, product and brand management, sales and distribution. As a corporate trainer, Dr. Matthew has conducted executive development programs, management development programs for Hero MotoCorp, Nokia, and many other such companies, and even for Government of Delhi. He has authored research articles in international journals and popular articles in top media outlets such as Financial Express, Forbes, Business Standards, and the Economic Times. He is a recipient in 2016 of ISBIV Global Case Competition, Marketing Category Winner Award, and the John Molson International Case Competition 2020 Canada. Once again, sir, I welcome you to this particular panel discussion. So I think we have got very vibrant people and very dynamic people who are expert in the area of our topic for panel discussion. And once again, on behalf of Amity University, I thank all the panelists to be part of this. And now I hand over the processions to the Dr. Jones, the moderator of this session.
Thank you, Dr. Punita. Welcome and good afternoon to all of you. We're slightly behind schedule, but we'll catch up. The idea today is, by the way, thank you, Professor Sujata and the ICACCF team, Amity University, for having us as panelists today for our conversation for the benefit of our audience here, which is basically students, right? Largely students and faculty members. So as was introduced by Dr. Punita, we have a wide variety of people with very different industrial experiences, academic backgrounds, and so on. So we are hopeful that the next 1 hour or 1 hour 15 minutes will be spent in helping us to understand the opportunities and challenges in the problem called sustainability. Now, sustainability as a topic is the buzzword. It's been a buzzword for almost 1.5 decades now, ever since the United Nations took it up as a way of solving the planet's problems because of the kind of consumption, which was the kind of consumption and production, which was actually causing a lot of harm to our resources, to the planet in general, and then as was talked about in the inaugural session, we were not leaving a planet for our future generations. So obviously, it's a matter of concern, right? The fact that we had a pandemic gave us a heads up on the digital transformation, something as all of us know and all of us accept, which might have taken 10 years happened in 2 years, right? So from that perspective, as more things go digital, often it is suggested or it is accepted that it becomes more sustainable because you're not wasting a lot of other resources. You can connect online and a lot of things can happen in a non-threatening way for the planet and its resources through digital intervention. So, one of there were a couple of researches which were done, which I have accessed regarding sustainability and CSR, etc. One of the challenges that many large company CEOs have faced is what they call sustainability as frustrated ambition. I don't know if you can make sense out of that. But sustainability as frustrated ambition, which means that CEOs as head of these organizations want to do sustainable things, but by being sustainable, you're probably eating up your profitability, at least in the short term. Stakeholders or shareholders are unforgiving. They want quick results, right? So even when CEOs want to do something sustainable, it takes a lot of time. Shareholders and stakeholders are not interested. They want to see immediate profitability. So that's why a very interesting term, frustrated ambition, sustainability. I don't know, in your own establishments, in your own organizations, when you try to do something sustainable, A, it takes too much time, B, it is tough to convince people to do sustainable things. So with that challenge, we will open up the discussion. But a quick word on CSR. Again, a very well-known term. Everybody's familiar with it. A lot of research articles, projects have been done on it. The government, central, state, local, everybody's trying to do something in the area of social responsibility. But CSR alone is not the hot topic nowadays. There's something called ISR also, which is the individual social responsibility. Right? So while we will focus on CSR today, I would also like to think about ISR. What is your social responsibility as individuals, and does that align with CSR, corporate social responsibility? Are companies taking their CSR and working with your ISR to align them together so that better outcomes can be, can happen? So with that opening, allow me to first on, with your permission, can I take the online person on first? Yeah, definitely. All right. So Dr. Fernando Barrio, can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon at Indian Standard Time, and you're welcome to the panel. Could you please enlighten us on your take about the digital transformation and how it has affected the sustainability question? And I call it a question because it is a bit of a challenge. And while there is an opportunity, there are some hurdles as well. And also, how do you connect it to how companies are treating or dealing with CSR, corporate social responsibility, on a global level or maybe at your country level? Over to you, sir.
Yes, thank you. Thank you again, and thank you, Amity, for inviting me to this panel. From myself and Queen Mary University of London, it's an honor to be here with all of you. As you clearly mentioned, one of the issues that we are facing as a planet, as communities, is the constant population growth, the need to ensure the future for us and for the future generations, and this seemingly contradiction in the need for more resources and knowing that we are near the limit of what we can do. Coincidentally, this week, the United Nations report gave us a quite bleak picture of what the situation is. And when we talk about sustainability, we are not talking only about resources. We are talking about climate change and the situation that is facing the planet. So there is no much profits to be made in 100 years if we are just not here. So from the academic point of view, if we are going to focus on that, one of the things that we need to do is to properly put some definitions in order so we can carry out an analysis that we can all give a view on. There was a mention of the differences between the aims of shareholders and what CEOs are trying to do. We are going to lead that to the end. But it is important to start from the beginning, making the division into shareholder and stakeholders, and not necessarily they are in the similar page when we talk about sustainability. Let's go back to the beginning. So we start talking about what? Yes, we know that we need to have a more sustainable planet. We need to make sure, as was said in the introduction, that the planet is here for someone to actually enjoy in the near future. So we need to act in such a way that what we do allow others to do at least the same that we are doing. That will be a very rough definition of sustainability. In that conundrum, we have the digital technologies, as was also correctly said. The pandemic showed us the importance of digital technologies and all the vast array of opportunities that they offer. Nevertheless, digital technologies are a double-edged sword. In one way, they allow us to do things in way that we couldn't do before. It allowed us to reach people that we couldn't reach before, but by doing so, we might be ensuring that some of those people and some part of the community will have no future because of these of these issues of sustainability. And I think that the key there goes to what you were mentioning, which has to do with corporate social responsibility and what is the aim of the corporation. So if we understand, and it was mentioned that the aim of the corporation is to maximize profits for the shareholder, that's it. So everything that we talk will be just secondary to that, and companies will have to do that. But that concept, cemented in the 70s by an unfortunate Nobel Prize of Economics, it was never true. It was purely ideological. So it is not historical truth that the main aim of corporation is to maximize profits for the shareholder. That was something that we in the business school had been teaching for 40 years and was not true before. So, and that is the key issue there, because if the main aim of the company is to maximize profits for shareholder, everything else that we are talking about is just secondary, because that will be the main. But it doesn't need to be like that. Nobody is talking about the need of corporations to disregard profits. Of course, they are needed. People invest in order to get returns. The profits are needed to reinvest, and so on, and a very long stream of necessities created by profit. But the question is, how much profit is needed in order to satisfy the aims of the corporation, and what is the impact of those profits? And we can see perfectly when we go to digital technologies. There are digital technologies which technically have no other aim than to make profit. Therefore, the impact of the community is difficult to justify. Even technologies that have been currently used, and they are very useful, they have embedded the idea that maximizing profit, even if this is not explicit. I will give a very, I normally in classes give very stupid examples, so I will give one here. Imagine that you have to go from A to B, and you put in your map, in your navigation system, how to go. The system gives you the fastest route, regardless of the environmental cost, even if it's for 1 minute. Therefore, if I have to go from where I am now to one airport, it will show me a route that is 3 times longer than other, and the difference is 1 minute, because it has embedded this concept of ultra efficiency, which is not taking into account sustainability. So now we go back to a corporation that seeks at any cost to maximize its efficiency, regardless, and please remember that I said we don't have to ignore efficiency or profit, but the key here is regardless anything else, is what we are facing, and we are seeing at massive scale. So we keep talking about the needs to care about sustainability. We keep talking about, and we got the new United Nations report on climate change. Nevertheless, if you see the amount of emissions keep going up, companies keep making and using marketing to say that they are becoming green, but their carbon output seems, in many companies, let's generalize, of course, we need to go case by case, it seems to be going up. So there is a lot of posturing. And therefore, and this is unfortunately for all of us, I'm an academic lawyer, so this is where I go back to. There is a need of a clear regulatory framework that establishes the need of companies to actually put forward corporate social responsibility policies that take sustainability at the core of it. Again, and please let me repeat several times, nothing of this implies some sort of disregarding profits. The key here, I think, is balance. And it's a balance that in the last 40 years, and again, I insist, this has not been natural, this has been purely ideological, has been tilted toward extreme profiteering, I would say, more than profiteers. So I don't know how many minutes I have. As you probably realize, we are all scholars. We can talk for hours.
Yeah,
Do you
Fernando,
let me know when you want me to
yes, I'll come back to you, Dr. Fernando. You have raised
Okay.
some important points here.
Okay,
And
good.
we
Thank you.
Yeah, we have 7, 8 members on the panel, so I'll definitely come back to you towards the end or some other question that I would like to pose to you. But your observation that there's a need for a very clear framework for managing sustainability is definitely the need of the hour. And apparently, a large number of countries still haven't thought about it, and that's a cause of concern. We may sign international agreements, but at the ground level, there may be multiple agencies which don't work together for the sustainability problem. So thank you for raising that question. We come back to you. May I request now Mr. Gaurav Kapoor to kind of share your views on the theme to begin with?
Sure. Thank you. I hope you can hear me. So, I start with something which I had learned or which I had heard 20, 30 years back. And, actually 30 years back, it used to be said the business of the business is to do business. Because look at it, business of the business is to do business. That was 30 years back. I said we have to make profit, and that's what its objective was. But that thing does not hold true any longer. You cannot do any very open world like a business, but you cannot do any kind of an activity without taking into account the environment in which you're working in. So sustainability is now at the core of whatever you do. Any decision you take, you have to make sure as a corporate organization that what impact does it have on the ecosystem, including my stakeholders and also people who may be directly or indirectly affected. So that's one point. The second point which I wanted to emphasize was why is that we are seeing so much of change happening recently? And we did talk to a lot of people out there, and we realized one thing which has changed also is that a new generation has come in. We call it the Generation Z, and the earlier ones, like older ones, the millennials, they have now become old, but now it's the Generation Z. So these generations, they are very conscious of what they are buying, what they are, right from data privacy to things like that. They are asking questions. They are asking organizations, why are you doing this thing wrong? Are you harming my environment or not? And I'll give you a very simple example. So my wife buys shoes. Everybody buys shoes, and you need to buy shoes. So there was a company known as Tom Shoes. You can just Google it. It's a San Francisco-based company. So the core of the business was sustainability, and how they do it. It was that they said, if you buy one shoe for us, we will donate one shoe on your behalf. And trust me, that shoe is so simple, canvas shoes. It's nothing. You will say, what is this shoe? This is not a Nike Air or stuff like that. It's a very common shoe, but it sells like hotcakes because people or the generation associate themselves. Right? This is one of the example. Another thing, people are saying, can I use an electric vehicle? Can we move towards something more sustainable? Obviously, there's a question of how you generate electricity. That we are not going to get to that part. But I'm just telling you the change which has happened is because of these youngsters sitting out here who are demanding and forcing organizations to become accountable. Right? So that's the second part which I wanted to talk about. Right? This is change. The third part, and I'm coming to the part where you talk about how digital transformation, let me put it this way, digital is making it happen. So there are a couple of things which you should take care of. First is digital is helping you enable capture data, analyze data, and also report data easily. Earlier I may have been doing I may have a power plant with a lot of pollution, but there was no equipment to capture a lot of things which was happening. So people are getting away with it. With digital, you can track down a lot of things which are happening also. So digital has enabled you to track things, report things, capture things, and also share it. If you find something today, you're using digital as a means to say that this organization gave me something which was unfit for me, or I bought this thing which was not sustainable, or I went to this hotel and they were packing everything in plastic. People on social media talk about it and help hold people responsible. And you find organizations changing. They say we will become more environmentally oriented. This is the change which is happening on digital part on that. And second thing which is happening is also reporting. My previous speaker talked about regulatory. We have integrated reporting. A lot of you may be aware about it. I cannot just go and see what integrated reporting is all about. It's and we have BRSR standards in India. So these standards are also evolving. They're saying that Generation wants it. Investors are looking for it. People are getting accountable ahead for it. Data is getting captured. Now, how do you report on it? So reporting standards are coming into place. So organizations are forced to disclose. So as I say, digital is like sunlight. It is a disinfectant. So wherever you have sunlight, be part of your business, you'll get more transparency and more disinfectant. So I think that's what digital is playing as a role. Wherever you use digital, you'll be able to know where are the causes, where are the problems happening, and it is a disinfectant. We get rid of all the negative things and come out what the truth is. So I think that these are the 4 points which I wanted to make, which you probably have young people on this.
All right, thank you, Gaurav, for that. Very insightful, two good examples as well. And plus the fact that you raised the question, is business supposed to do business, right? And everything else is secondary, which Dr. Bari also mentioned. So there was a school of thought which was there earlier. That corporates are not, even when the CSR thing was launched in India, there was a lot of pushback from corporates, which said that, see, our job is not to do the government's job of looking after water supply and sanitation and girls' education. Or that's the government's job, not our job. Our job is to make money. So as Gaurav just mentioned, that was a different world. Today's world makes it absolutely, mandatory. And youngsters today, according to a lot of international researchers, a lot of youngsters are putting pressure. I don't know if enough people in India are protesting against companies. Do you stop buying things from companies which are not sustainable? I don't know. You probably know it yourself. Do you say to Amazon, no, I will not take a packet from you if it is covered in 3 layers of plastic? You don't. Right? Most of us don't actually. We may be aware of sustainability practices, but we don't necessarily translate that awareness into action. Right? So we don't protest enough, I think. But anyway, that's for you youngsters to take up further on. The other thing which Mr. Kapoor mentioned here was accountability, forcing accountability. So part of that pressure is coming from the government, but I think a lot of the pressure also has to come from the consumer, right? Whatever your product or service that you're buying, are you putting enough pressure on the companies and boycotting them if they're not? I don't think most of us do it, and I think that's where we're losing out. Right? Framework is important, but it has to be backed up by, let's say, action from the consumer side as well. That's an important point. Allow me to have Professor CA Praveen Kaushik's thoughts on the topic before we go further. CSR, sustainability, and your profession, or whatever else that you take care of.
Thank you, Josh, and namaskar to everyone. So, the sense of social responsibility. So, say that is corporate social responsibility is a relatively new term, basically because it was talked about a lot at international level. Every country is having or were having, you can say, their own regulations, maybe voluntarily, maybe mandatorily. But what is social responsibility? As my earlier fellow panelists have talked about this ISR, that is individual social responsibility. So social responsibility, so the subject is CSR. So CSR is nothing, it is a self-regulated business model for a company to help itself to be accountable to itself, to stakeholders, and Mother Nature itself. And when we are talking about corporate social responsibility, in 2013, when India introduced CSR as a mandatory norm under Companies Act, India became the first country to regulate and you can say formulate CSR statutorily. Worldwide, CSR is being done, but again, corporates are maybe taking it as a burden, or say that is extra pressure on their bottom line. But now the governments are getting tougher. There are certain amendments which are talking about independent audits of CSR activities and CSR spends by the companies. And now there is just like dividend, Ministry of Corporate Affairs has come up with certain amendments where unspent CSR amount would be transferred to the consolidated fund of Government of India. within 6 months of the end of the financial year. So these are certain amendments which government bring to show its seriousness. And the second aspect is sustainability. So sustainability is nothing. You and people are not doing any what should I say, ehsan on nature. So we are not doing. We are just simply giving it back. Sustainability is our ability to sustain life, because it is a ability to exist continuously. Because if the planet will not be there, water will not be there, what will happen? So we are not doing anything for nature. Believe me, it is our responsibility to leave this planet livable for coming generations. So it is a ability, as I have said, to exist continuously in harmony with Mother Nature. And every culture across the world, every religion in some form is worshipping nature in one form or maybe in another form. So and it is very, very pertinent to note that there is a famous saying in Ramcharitmanas that bhaya bin hoi na preeti. So the world started talking about sustainability in 1980 when the International Union for Conservation of Nature termed it as global priority. If we want to live, then we have to be serious about sustainability. Then in 1987, UN defined sustainability, the definition which we are using nowadays. Then in 2000, year 2000, New York Summit, the Millennium Declaration, which talked about 8 principles. Then in 2002, Earth Summit in Johannesburg, South Africa. Then in 2020, 2012, again Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro. And then Paris Agreement on Climate Change in 2015, which talks about Sustainable Development Goals. And these Sustainable Development Goals are nothing. They are simply to coexist with the coexistence of development of human needs, the development of humanity with the conservation and preservation of nature. So we have to be responsible and accountable towards nature. And so far, our profession is concerned about these things. So Government of India in 2021 talked about BRSR, that is Business Responsibility and Sustainability Reporting. So there are certain standards which have been issued by MCAs. So top 1,000 listed companies in India needs to report on BSRSR. So now, what is BRSR? There are 9 principles which are termed as National Guidelines on Responsible Business Conduct. So these 9 principles covers the topic from human rights to ethical business practices, product life cycle to shareholders involvement, policy advocacy to environment. So businesses need to be more accountable, but as Dr. Jonas has said that businesses cannot do anything at their own until unless we are forcing it on to the company. Many times nowadays it is a social media age. You and me are witnessing biocodes so and so trends every day on social media, and it has been witnessed that corporates had to take decisions due to these biocode calls. So if consumers are getting aware, if consumers are getting educated, they are becoming more responsible. Then corporates will have to follow these sustainability measures. Then there are certain, we are talking about this digital thing also. So the use of technology while talking about CSR and this sustainability. So you can say that technology has helped us in getting together. So now there is a data. You can understand what stakeholders want. You can communicate with them easily. Then nowadays there is a you can say outright call about sustainable finance, where global fund houses are funding only those companies which are BRSR or sustainability compliant, that is ESG concept, and the whole sustainable development concept is dependent upon three P's. The three bottom lines we used to call it: people, planet, and profits. So companies are doing it. Technology has helped the corporates to find out the cost-effective ways to implement CSR activities, sustainability, and then from the practitioner's perspective, what I suggest corporates to make short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals towards sustainability. And the government also needs to show some big heart. It has come with subsidies, particularly because every new technology is expensive when it is new relatively. So government has to subsidize certain things. Government has to promote. That is public-private partnership needs to be there to make it happen. So, and chartered accountants and auditors are actively playing their role, because now it is mandatory for companies to report on BRSR, and we are facing earlier resistances, but once it is mandatory, then corporates will have to follow, and we as a chartered accountant and auditor doing our part to tell whether the reporting is right or wrong.
Thank you, Mr. Kaushik. I think all of us agree that not only corporates but otherwise also, we need a carrot and stick policy. The stick policy is what the mandatory part is, right? If you are going to be sustainable, these are the guidelines that you have to follow, and the voluntary part is what we were doing earlier, what we used to call philanthropy, charity, etc. But the government realized that after some time, the companies don't do things on their own. In fact, most people don't do things on their own unless they are shown the way and there are penalties involved. And I think that is how the CSR Act or the CSR part of the Companies Act came about, because it was essential. And now, of course, the main challenge is implementation, right? And adherence to that. So, and the points that Mr. Kaushik mentioned about companies or investors supporting companies which are sustainable, that's an important step towards ESG compliance from a sustainability point of view. All right. Allow me to invite Dr. Mohammed Nurullah. Dr. Nurullah, are you, am I audible? Yes, hi, hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can. We all can hear you. Would you share your thoughts, please, on the topic?
Thank you. Can I share a couple of slides? Is it okay with you?
Slides, you said?
Yeah, a couple of slides. Can I share?
Yeah, but we need to keep it under 2 or maybe 3 to 4 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. Can you see my slides or?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. So first of all, I would like to thank the MIT University and the conference organizer for organizing this important conference. And this field is very timely and an issue of intense concern in this rise of globalization. So I also thank Professor Sujata Kendra and the Professor Puneta Koel of MIT University for inviting me to this plenary session. Just a couple of slides. I would like to share with you sustainability versus digitization and CSR versus CDR. Sustainability concerns humanity's relationship with the natural world, while digitization focuses on the virtual world. Corporate digital responsibility, CDR, is a subset of corporate social responsibility. So we do talk about CSR, but we also need to talk about CDR. Wade 2020 in MIT Sloan Management Review argued that the corporate digital responsibility spans 4 areas: social, economic, technological, and environment, that should be merged under one organization umbrella. And he defines CDR as a set of practices and behaviors that helps an organization use data and digital technologies in a way that is socially, economically, technologically, and environmentally responsible. But we have unethical digital practices, and the risk to humanity of poor or unethical digital practice like personal privacy or social protection are increasing rapidly and can no longer be ignored. Within governments and civil society are discussing about this. Now the corporations need to join this debate. Now, if I look at from the stakeholder theory viewpoint as an academic, stakeholders' responsible approaches are CSR, sustainability, environmental respect, and the corporate governance, and part of that CSR subset of CDR. So now, if you look at the UN MDGs to SDGs, which I'm sure you are familiar with, the Millennium Development Goal, which was kind of successfully achieved by 2015, and that inspired the world leaders to carry on the momentum, and then they started to put forward what's called the SDG, the 17th goal. But I'm not going to share all of my slides because you are familiar with all of this. What I wanted to argue here from the philosophical viewpoint, very practical viewpoint, apart from the academic side, from the philosophical side, why do farms exist? Farms exist because they want to make profit by taking risk. So they are the one who takes the ultimate risk. But the counter argument is, okay, you are taking the risk, therefore you deserve to get profit. But at what cost? You are using the earth or the world's resources to gain personally and damaging the earth. Therefore, you are responsible to pay something back to the society. Here comes the social justice, and for the benefit of the society. Now, how do you ensure the social justice? I think one of the panel member mentioned that the customer pressure. Yes, that is one of the area, because investors, CEOs are in dilemma. If they cannot maximize the shareholders' return, investors will leave. If they don't see their ROI is coming up, simply they will reinvest somewhere else. Unless that business is a social business, which, like the Professor Yunus, Nobel laureate, he's now campaigning for the social business. So that is a totally different concept. In line with these accountants or accounting bodies, like they have introduced, with the idea with the support of the Prince Charles, about integrated reporting that has been embedded there. But now it is not getting that much prominence to that one. So that issue is very timely. I do not want to take much time, even though I had quite a few slides and some of the suggestions given by some of the recent research. One thing I would like to highlight here finally, the digital, what's called the new business model in the digital age. The Economist magazine 2015 published an article on reinventing the company. The launch of Uber, Snapchat, Airbnb, and earlier success of Google, Amazon, and Facebook, a new breed of company has emerged that uses digital technology, entrepreneurship, and innovation to unpen the industry on a global scale. So increasingly, these startup companies do not have their own products, but connect members of one group with another group, like the matchmaking, and reduce such cost to the on a transaction. We call it transaction economics by Was, who got also Nobel Prize in economics. But I would like to show the big picture, and the big picture is what's called. Sorry. So it is like the big picture. Well, it is in my slide. It is like the poverty, globalization. Yeah. So with the multinational performance, still they can have the competitiveness remain important. avenue for international business research, but then emphasis on SDGs will help explain the human, social, and environmental implication of what multinationals do, how and where they do it, and the overall impact that they have. I think I should stop unless you allow me to continue.
Thank you, Dr. Nurullah. Yeah, you raised some important points. Of course, there were a lot of important insights in your slide deck, but due to time constraint, we'll just take over from there. You raised another question which was important, solving the big questions. The question that I'd like to ask the audience is that while you're hearing this conversation going on between academics and practitioners, what do you think are the real challenges behind sustainability not having become mainstream so far? Why is it that we're still having debates and we still don't understand that it is the thing to do? Maybe a small minority of us actually believe that it is an important thing. The rest of us, is it because we are at a different developmental level? Maybe in India or maybe in other developing countries, maybe it is a big problem just to be sustainable. Maybe the bigger question is survival, not sustainability. Maybe that's the reason why. Yes.
It is on the rise. Now there is a rise of ethical investment, green investment. So it is on the rise. So society is becoming more aware of this, and the corporations are facing pressure. Onto that one. So it is in the right direction, but it will take some time. It will.
Yes, yes, thank you. And I was only hoping that the time that it takes is not too much, because then we won't have anything left, right? For sustainability. So we need to speed up things, and I think all you young people sitting here in the audience have a big role to play in this. You are the guys who have to turn this thing around, I think, right? Because our generation messed it up. You are the guys which will have to drive this now. All right, can I request Dr. Murthy for your views on the topic quickly? We have about 5 minutes.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So, this sustainability and social response, from students' perspective, these are important, but higher. These are leadership related issues. What is there for you at the time being? So everybody is talking about digitization, data, and for you the most important thing is that how you can learn data science. Data science is a hard word. See, in simple terms, analytics. I was very much impressed by the presentation of Ivan in the initial conference time, where he had explained many things in a very wonderful, crispy manner. With regard to accounts and finance students, I would like to suggest few things you need to cross-check those technologies or those methods. Say, for example, you can take notes, IBM Watson Analytics. You can take notes and see that how IBM Watson Analytics is helping with regard to audit or with regard to reportings. So audit, where a physical human being is required, now the audit is done by machine. And IBM Watson Analytics can do that quickly. So this is something amazing. This is something amazing. Now, another example, that how we take the feedback from consumers. So we give a questionnaire to them, and we know that it is very difficult to get a response from the questionnaires. Somebody had told me that in the audience there are students and researchers. So those who are researchers, they know that the response from digital questionnaires is right there, and we cannot go physical with every respondent and request that can you fill it. Then there is a new mechanism. I'm very much sure that you all have experienced this, and this is feasible. I have witnessed with Google Meet when somebody is talking, the captions are coming. Have you seen that? Have you experienced this? And this is a very big technology, a very big change. This is audio to text, immediately, in real time, and this is amazing. This is amazing, and this can be used for your consumer behavior or satisfaction of customers. Where questionnaire is not there, you can simply say that, sir, in your relaxed timings, just send me a 45 minutes audio clip. That's it. And the software will convert that audio clip to text, and then we can analyze text mining or natural language processing. Imagine how easy it has become. So there are examples after examples.
May I request the audience at the back to please maintain decorum or please leave the hall? Thank you.
So there are examples after examples which can be utilized in the domain of finance and accounting. I've given few examples only. Chatbot. Now see banking. Now you are not required to go there and ask for your query. The moment you raise your query, there is a chatbot, like a robot sitting at the other end and is giving a reply quickly. So this is really amazing, really amazing. They have not gone to physical bank branch. I'm very much sure that nobody had gone to physical bank branch in the last 2.5 years. Your bank is within your mobile. So see, these are big changes. These are big changes. Now, what you should do as a student, you need to learn this. Don't think so that these are the things done by computer science professionals. They will build applications or they will build mechanisms for you. No. If you have to make, now I'm bringing the word. If you have to bring your business sustainable, you need to take responsibility of these things also. You cannot say that I don't know this and this is someone else's responsibility. So you need to come forward and learn all these things. Yes, of course, application will be built by one software engineer or computer science. But what is required, what is needed, that you will do. That this is my business. I am a manager. This is my area. These are my operations. I need to act like that. If you have the proper understanding of the all nitty-gritties, then you will be able to guide that back more properly. The biggest fear, I will sum up in another 10 seconds. The biggest fear why commerce and finance students are not coming forward for learning all these things. Because of the coding. So I will tell you one important thing, that the coding programs or the coding languages which are being used for all these, including chatbots, including NLP, including other things, are primarily as of now is Python and R. And believe me, these are not hardcore programming languages the way Java and C++ is. For just taking an average, you need to write a 1.5-page program for just calculating average, which can be done in R and Python in 3 words. So Python and R are not programming languages. All the libraries are just built in there. You need to write only 3 words for whatever you want. So don't be afraid. In case you say that no, I'm not going to run R or not going to run Python, then go for IBM Watson Analytics, go for Microsoft Machine Learning Azure, go for MAN, KNIMD. These are point and click type of softwares. They will build machine learning models, being NLP or being text mining or being predictive models or being classification models. And a 11th class student can start utilizing this with an input of say 6-8 hours. 6-8 hours are required to learn all these things, and then you can start using all these things. And there is no doubt about it. If you do like that, then you will definitely contribute your organization towards your organization for becoming more sustainable. There is no doubt. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Good set of tips for commerce and finance students, right? And what he's talking about is fear of coding, etc. It's a thing of the past because most of the applications available today, if I try or if I make up my mind, even I can learn it. So why not you guys? Right? I have nothing to do with coding, right? So thank you for that. And I think it also connects with what Dr. Iman mentioned in the keynote address in the morning about encouraging sustainability through skills upgradation. I think that's our own sustainability also, because otherwise we might be out of a job very soon. Okay, so thank you for that. And now may I invite Mr. Dheeraj Sharma for his views on this topic. Of course, a lot of people have already said a lot of things, but I'm sure there will be something new to add. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Matthew. And obviously, I believe that the speakers before me who have addressed with their thoughts on CSR, on sustainable development, and they raised one very particular question that how to build this thought in the mind of business person as well as in the mind of youth that this is our responsibility to think about sustainability. Why there is need of putting some legislations about CSR or about sustainability reporting on the industries? Why these people are not understanding that sustainability is the part of their own business? So let me give an example. With the help of an example, I would try to sum up the entire thing. And after me, my elder brother C. Nirlay Bhatt, immediate past chairman of Doha chapter of ICI. The Doha chapter is oldest overseas chapter of ICI. ICI having the presence in more than 40 countries. So he has headed the oldest chapter in the last year. So he would sum up everything with his thought. Let us take an example of an organization. So in an organization, what is our ultimate purpose? Is it earning profit is our ultimate purpose? Yes? Okay, let me give you an example. There is an organization having their turnover of 100 CR and their P ratio is 10%. That means turnover of 100 CR and the profit earning is 10 CR. There is another organization, their turnover is 1000 CR and their P ratio is 5%. That means turnover of 1000 CR and profit earning is 50 CR. Which one is better? With higher P ratio or with growth? Ultimate objective of an organization is not the profit, but the growth, the holistic growth. If you people are dealing in share market, so you would be amazed to know that there are a lot of such companies which are having their turnover higher in terms of numerical figures. They are having their profits higher, but it is still there are many other companies with lesser turnover and lesser profit. The market capitalization of those companies is higher than those high profit earning companies because of future growth perspectives. The growth is most important thing rather than profit. So how the growth can be ensured? The growth should be sustainable. We are not talking about environment. We are just talking about an organization. In an organization, how we can say that we can ensure the sustainable growth in an organization? And if I'm not wrong, in 11th class I studied, there are two environments, internal and external environments, which are affecting the business and the growth of an organization, right? So obviously, what they should do, the first thing to ensure their growth, there should be the concept of rational use of their resources, be it money, man, machine, material. There should be the rational use of their resources. Then only they can ensure their growth. Am I right? Agreed? Another thing, okay, there is rational use of their resources, but it's still we have it out that whether the reporting of such rational use is right or wrong. There are the possibilities of manipulation in the reporting. There are the possibilities of frauds. Like in the Satyam case, it happened. People were very much happy that company is growing, but ultimately what happened? So there may be such kind of situation which can affect adversely to the growth of an organization. So in that case, there should be controls. Being chartered accountant, I understand that how much important the controls are in an organization. So we talk it governance. The better terminology for the controls is governance. So first part, we have ensured the rational use of resources. On the other part, we have ensured the good governance, good control. And at the same time, is it not important for me to ensure that the external environment, the surrounding, the people who are working with my company or the neighbors of my plant, they people are happy? Otherwise, what will happen? I am just throwing the chemical used in my company and leaving it outside the company, and the people are affected adversely. And NGT will ban my production. National Green Tribunal will take a strict action against me, or people can file their writ in the High Court or Supreme Court as well. So at the same time, this is my duty to make happy my society as well. So these three things: rational use of resources, second one, governance, and third one, the social responsibility. These are called ESG. In terms, if you are talking for the entire universe, for the entire world, so the sustainability is nothing but ESG: environmental, social, and governance. So if these things are very much necessary for an organization, so how we can say that the reporting for sustainability are burden on an organization? And as rightly quoted by Kaushik sir, you would be amazed to know that India was the first country in the entire world which had made the CSR compliance mandatory in the year 2013. In fact, India is very much serious about the sustainable reporting framework as well. They are very much serious about their commitment in UN and 17 SDGs of UN. So in the year 2015, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, they came with one notification about BRR, the business responsibility reporting by top 100 companies in terms of market capitalization. 100 listed companies in terms of market capitalization, they are supposed to report in the form of BRR, and that is an integral report along with their annual report that how much they are putting their efforts towards ESGs. So in that particular report, the more focus was on national guidelines on responsible business conduct. So overall focus was on society and governance, means S and G. But in the last year, SEBI has come up with one notification and they have changed the format of BRR in the name of BRSR, Business Responsibility and Sustainability Reporting, and more focused on the environmental aspects as well, sustainable development aspects as well. And my dear friends, once you will go through with 17 SDGs, you will know that SDG, sustainable development is not only related to environment. They talk about gender equality, they talk about good governance, they talk about good working environment, they talk about poverty eradication and hunger removal. They talk about all these things, the holistic development of the society, the good society where everybody can dream for the better future. So that is the ultimate concept of sustainability. So don't think these are burden on us, and because people are not understanding all these things, so that's why government has come up with some strict regulations, as rightly quoted by Praveen sir, कि विनय न मानत जल्दी जड़ गए 3 दिन भी बोले राम सकोप तब भय बिन होई न प्रीत. So though the time is limited, so with one verse from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, I would like to summarize about our own responsibility in chapter number 11, verse 55. कि मत कर्म कृन्मत परमो मद वत्संग वर्जिता है निर्वैरः सर्वभूतेषु यस्य मामेति पांडवः. The person who is engaged in his duties with purity, the person who is free from contamination of all the wrong deeds, and the person who is free from any kind of biasness, that person is superior according to me. That is like Pandav to me, as mentioned by Lord Krishna. So same thing, similar thing, not only government, Mother Earth is expecting from all of us. So that should be our commitment. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so what Mr. Dhanira Sharma has mentioned is that we shouldn't think of it as just the environment or the ecology, but also other factors like gender equality and moreover holistic development. And that's the idea of sustainability as we see it. And does digital have any role to play in it? I don't know. It's an open question. Does it always have to be driven by the government? That question is also open. As individuals, what is our responsibility? That question is open, and probably we can do a quick audit of ourselves. What has been our commitment towards sustainability? And is this just a table topic here for a seminar or a conference? Or are we doing something about it? So with the last few minutes, allow me to invite Mr. Nirlab Bhatt, past chairman of the Goa chapter of ICAI. Mr. Bhatt, can you hear me, please?
Yes, absolutely. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are audible and visible. Thank you so much. Please could you give us your thoughts on this very important topic, Mr. Bhatt?
Namaste and warm good afternoon to everyone in India, and good morning again to my esteemed panelists from UK. Respected session coordinator, Dr. Punita Goel, learned moderator, Dr. James Matthew, and fellow esteemed panelists. Thank you very much for inviting me to this very, very insightful panel discussion, which is part of 5th International Conference. And let me congratulate the organizers for inviting the speakers and panelists of very high pedigree in this panel discussion. The topic also cannot be more relevant than what is given in of this panel discussion. So I'll consciously avoid repeating, sir, what is already been spoken in the interest of the time, but then I still have some points to make. We talked about the sustainable finance by Praveenji. Dheerajji very aptly elaborated on the other aspect which is correlated to the sustainable development. Profit making is important, but not profiteering. That's what I say, and I take a clue from the Mr. Fernando from UK. But still, it's very important for us to understand that why sustainability is important. Because we need to have a firm belief that this is the thing which is there now, it's going to last for decades. So we all know that as the global economy expanding. Size and scale of businesses are also increased. Businesses are going global. Trade channels are extending across continents, and enterprisings are becoming borderless, even thanks to the advent of IT. The cases are not uncommon where head office, manufacturing entity, or the processing center in case of service organization, regional offices, distributors are all in different countries and continents. Enterprises are also adopting horizontal and vertical integration. With such an expansion in every direction, uncertainty and risks are bound to increase, be it for ESG, like Dheeraj has mentioned, and that's what we mentioned by 3 Ps of all this sustainability: planet, people, and profit. It's with this respect, the emphasis on sustainability has increased across the globe. So its risk, whether it's due to pandemic, expansion, carbon emission, natural calamities, increased diversity, and cultural issues, have given a rise to the sustainability and its reporting. COVID-19 pandemic should be a wake-up call for all of us, all those stakeholders who are a part of this whole ecosystem, to accelerate the strengthening of the sustainability framework. On financial side, multiple regulators, difficulty in accessing the funds, liquidity and credit crunch are some of the other issues which trigger business sustainability issues. One panelist mentioned about the stakeholders' confidence. Employees, business partners, customers, government, and community at large can only be won with a robust sustainable practices. I already mentioned that there is a fine line of difference, which all, especially the finance researchers, have to understand the difference between profit making and profit sharing. Business sustainability is of paramount importance also because the governance and ethical issues. I like a very wonderful quote which I read elsewhere, that ethical practice is the single most biggest competitive edge which any organization can adopt. Now let's examine very briefly that how we can imbibe this sustainable growth, especially in the wake of this digital transformation, Industry 4.0. I would take a cue from the chief guest address, where he mentioned that it's very important for all of us, all the speakers, students, researchers, academicians, to constantly keep on updating ourselves. Because unless we upskill and reskill ourselves, the technology which was once invented by us is all set to replace us, friends. So one of the most impactful ways about sustainability is to use the locally available resources and technology, avoid anything which is of excess and waste of anything. Take nature as a model, design with the nature, realign your business model in line with the nature. Very important concept, and you all learned participant would be knowing about what we call lean organization. Avoid everything that does not add value to the stakeholders by not downsizing and resources or retrenching manpower, but the term I like, which is right sizing the resources. Harness the technology to the maximum extent. Lean organization also embraces the concept of Kaizen, which is continuous improvement and evolvement. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. You may take some time to read what Toyota has done and how they've installed a transformer, which has resulted in the reduction of carbon emission and less use of energy and electricity. What Microsoft has done with the cloud computing, they have established the data center, which also consumes the less energy. So these two should be the role model case studies, which we all should study in greater detail to understand that how the sustainability can result into the practical efficiency, I would say. So lean organization and the sustainability drive have two very important common factors, which is continuous innovation and improvement. Robotic process automation, because this topic is also about the sustainable growth in the digital era. So how robotics can use and can help us achieve the sustainable development. So tasks which are repetitive in nature, tasks which are monotonous and process oriented, where the output is also certain, we can take the help of robotic process automation. Finally, I would appeal to all the finance professionals, and it's also great to have my professional brothers, Pravinji and Dheerajji over here. So let's understand that what is there in for the academician and professionals in finance. Friends, sustainability reporting is a growing area and is going to be there for at least 5 decades or for forever. This will offer a plethora of opportunities in India and other countries. The whole educational ecosystem should foster the research, raise awareness, develop guidance note, have some certificate or diploma courses in these very, very important areas. Social audit, again, one of the upcoming area, running sustainability drive, congruence of financial, non-financial reporting. Very important thing, what one of the panelists has mentioned is that trade-off between financial outlay to implement the sustainability drive and improvement in the standards are some of the areas where finance professionals can effectively collaborate and contribute. Friends, finance is a serious business, as we all know. It requires a significant interface with all other functions, and hence finance professionals and researchers need to expand the gamut of their domain to include all these aspects and digital era. Believe me, friends, sustainability reporting is a sunrise domain, I would call. So if you enter into this domain at an early stage, at an early phase, you are going to benefit it. So now if you decide to, let's say, enter into this after a decade or after 5 years, then you yourself will have many, many competitors into it. I would like to conclude my initial thoughts with a quote of Larry Frank, CEO of BlackRock. What he said: there is no company whose business model will not be impacted by transition to a net zero economy. Companies that are not quickly preparing themselves will see their businesses and valuations suffer, and stakeholders' confidence is lost. Thank you very much, respected moderator, and virtual screen is over to you.
For your suggestion to finance and commerce students, I especially appreciate the point that you raised about social auditing and sustainability reporting being a sunrise industry, which means if you do the required skill upgradation for this right now, you're probably going to ride a growing wave for the next 10 years, 15 years, probably forever, right? So I think it would be a good thing to probably get yourself certified in social auditing, sustainability reporting, because these are the big things which are critical for our survival. And you all will all have a big role to play. And I think if that is the one takeaway that you take from this conference, so be it. All right, but from this panel discussion, allow me to open up the floor for maybe 1 or 2 questions, because we are over time now, and we have a short lunch break, and then the second panel has to start. So anybody has any question, faculty member, researcher? Yes, please. Yes. And if you would like the question to be directed to anybody specifically, you can also do that.
So, sir, the first thing is with the advent of industrial revolution in 18th century, the Britain was financed by the colonization of their colonies, especially India. It means they are imposing their cultural identities to Indian. It means today, after the end of Second World War as well, with the rise of unipolar and multipolar work as well, is there any rise of their cultural new colonization to Indian? It means whatever we are doing, whether it is a reporting, whether it is auditing standards or accounting standard, in the years as well, they all are based on the Western concept. It means in some cases we are not following our sovereignty as well, because our sovereignty is in danger of the cultural imposition of Western world.
All right. Thank you.
So all the things
like this. Your good name?
Ambuj Kumar Shukla.
Amrit Kumar Shukla. Thank you for that
Ambuj,
question. Ambuj. Yeah, so that's a very important question and pretty loaded question as well. My take on this is that, see, let's not look at the past, number one. Number two, if there is a good practice or a best practice, wherever it comes from, take it. If it requires us to adopt a Western practice to survive, do it. If we have a practice that we can export, export it. If we are not exporting it, it's our fault also.
One thing, when British arrived to the stores of India, the Indian contribution to the international export was 23%. When British left in 1947, it was around 2%. It means that the industrial revolution, the industries in the Western world was fueled, was financed by the environmental degradation of that time. It means the environmental degradation, or whatever it is, it was done by the Western world in the initial industrial revolution. But if we are industrializing, then they are imposing certain rules and regulations to deindustrialize ourselves or industrialize in very constrained manner to make themselves superior to our nation, and it is hampering to the nationalism identity of India.
Okay, all right. So I think we need to make the question shorter, number one. Number two, the fact is that you have raised this point about them being the perpetrators of all the degradation and now teaching us. See, but no, I think you need to put the mic down now. The question is, just because they did it doesn't mean that we have to do it also. Just because they made some mistakes, we don't have to do the same mistakes. And if there is a matter of survival and a sustainability, by the way, Indians were always very sustainable. In historical times and medieval times and ancient times, we were very sustainable economy or culture actually. But over a period of time, like you rightly mentioned, maybe other cultures came in and they tried to change the way we did it. And destroyed our indigenous. I got it. So let's not make this a political discussion or anything like that. Let's just do this from a perspective of, is sustainability reporting important? Are there practices in India that we can adopt? If there are better practices abroad, can we borrow them for our benefit, not for their benefit, for our benefit? Then I think we'll be much superior to anybody. All right. And I think Mr. Dheeraj wanted to also respond to your question. No questions. Yeah, one by one.
Basically, what I have observed, there are two things in the question of Mr. Ambose. One part, he is very much concerned about the degradation of our values because of foreign invaders. And second part, he is very much concerned about why we people are inculcating the reporting framework provided by these people. So let me ask you for the second question first. If we talk about reporting, so there is ICACCF, International Federation of Accountants, and in the ICACCF there are several countries which are member of that. So in India, like ICAI, that is the governing regulating body for accounting and auditing profession in India. In fact, before implementation of Indian Constitution on 26th January 1950, before that, on 1st of July 1949, ICACCF was passed. So in India, it has its own sovereignty and everything. But we are member of ICACCF. If we talk about ethical standard, if we talk about sustainability reporting, if we talk about any kind of such framework like accounting standard you have mentioned, we are moving from AS to Ind AS and we are more similar to IFRS. Sir, it is not about we are following the IFRS provided by UK. We are just trying to just trying to streamline our reporting as per the requirements or as per the suggestions provided by IFAC. So this is not about following the UK IFRS. It's all about being member of IFAC. We are also working to come at the single reporting time. Now, another part one is the first question about the degradation of Indian culture. In our culture, it was mentioned Mata Bhumi Putra Prithvika. This is our culture. Yes, obviously we feel that this mother earth is my mother and I am son of this mother earth. So this is my responsibility. There is no need to learn from anyone else. If individually, if we people are fulfilling our responsibility, if we are having respect about it, if we have that kind of respect about our own culture, in that case, there is no need to possibly impose any kind of regulation from other countries. But unfortunately, we people are not following, we people are not feeling proud of this culture and not following such cultural heritage and such legacy. That's why government is forced to impose such restrictions. That is the reason. If we will start it, there will be no such requirement. After 10 years, there may be the other countries that will start to follow us. So it start from us. Yeah.
Yeah. And to add what Dheeraj said about these reporting frameworks, so don't you think that we are coming back to the reality of So as I said, I have and Dheeraj bhai spoken about the whole Doha. So why we are saying so that we are coming back? So that sit relaxed and think about this sustainability thing. Read those 17 sustainable development goals, and then read those 9 principles brought in by SEBI. And believe me, you will feel that the world is looking at Indian values again. Because we are the people who are saying that Mother Nature. We are the people who are worshipping rivers. We are the people who are worshipping. There are lots of examples I can give, and it can go on and on and on. But to cut short, the world is looking again at Indian values. This sustainability thing is nothing. This is the reinforceability of Indian values on world map. Believe me, everyone has to come back from where he has started.
I can 2 minutes.
2 minutes,
Why not,
okay.
2 minutes?
Go ahead.
My question is very specific. I'm pursuing research. Myself, Sushma Mohan. I'm also pursuing research on sustainability reporting in banks and finance sector. I have also written a couple of papers on that. While analyzing sustainability reports of banks, what I found that in most of the things like what are your GHG greenhouse gas emissions? What about product labeling? What about certain things which are directly relating to the environment? They say it is not applicable, especially the government sector banks. So I just want to know, specifically from CA people, that are there any specific standards or guidelines applicable to banks in finance sector in the new BRSR? Or if not, what the regulators should do about it, because they simply just escape out of it by saying it is not applicable. While at the same time, banks like SBI, Axis Bank, and they are giving the monetary as well as non-monetary data on everything. So
Okay.
what is the way out for this?
So there is no separate regulation on BRSR thing of sustainability for banks particularly. So it is a comprehensive framework that is BRSR. And to answer your question, don't you think that humans are the biggest joke on earth? So when we are visiting a ATM, which is like chilled chamber, 2-3 ACs, 2 tons, and the ATM machine asks you to save the environment, don't take printout, which is this much of size. This much of size. So we are not talking about hypocrisy. And to answer your question specifically, banks, particularly forget about banks, even we as a professional don't know what are green gas houses. We don't know. If I am asking to the audiences, how many can answer what are green gas houses? Green housing gases.
But they do
Can anybody
disclose-
answer?
Greenhouse gases
Sir,
are.
they do disclose like emissions, and CO2 emissions and
No,
other emissions.
that thing I'm
No,
coming
that's
back to. That thing I'm coming back to. It is as my brother Nirlep has already said that it is a sunrising sector. Everybody is learning, and what I would suggest to everybody, just go through the SR format. It has 2 things. One is something which is mandatory applicable to everyone. You have to tell, you have to answer. Second is the leadership indicator, where the regulator wants you to take leadership to tell something which is not necessarily you are required to tell, but simply tell. So in the coming times, it is always there when the question asked by India's IFRS, when they were implemented in 2016, the companies were, and even the practicing professionals were clueless what to state. The same thing is there. This is the very first year for banks of the industry to report mandatorily on BRSR. Down the line, you will see a lot of improvement.
Before that, BRR was also there. It happened with BRR framework also.
Actually, BRR was applicable only for 100 companies as the market capitalization. Now,
Then later it was extended to 500.
And again, and only 1 minute. And again, expecting from an accountant, a report on greenhouse gases or the water dispensation recycling is something beyond human expectations.
It was not my question, sir. I think I'm not able to communicate.
Can you please take this offline because we are seriously over time. I know you have a very valid question.
Okay.
And as Mr. Praveen said, this is a sunrise industry. A lot of things are still in the gray area. They still have to be fine-tuned. Since it's the first cycle, probably we're still trying to figure out what each of these definitions are. So please take it offline. Do have a discussion with him offline.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank all my panelists for being patient here and interacting with the audience. I thank the audience also for being very passionate about certain things suddenly in the end, which is good. We had a lot of interaction. Thank you for being a great audience. And again, thank you to the organizers. Thank you, Punita, for your participation.
I thank all the panelists, and especially online and offline. And especially first, I would like to thank my online guest, Dr. Fernando Mario from QMUS, Dr. Mohammed from Kingston University, and CA Nirlay Bhatt from Qatar. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you also enjoyed the session. And thank you for your valuable inputs to the panel discussion. And I would like to thank all my guests who are here offline with me. And I request and would just like to have you memento from Amity University as a token of our affection. And first, can you just wait for our moderator, sir, Dr. Jones Matthews? No, it's okay, sir. You are the moderator. Please give a big round of applause for Dr. Jones. I request Shubhani, please come and hand over the CA Dheeresh Sharma ji. CA Parveen Kaushik ji. Give a big round of applause. You've got so much interesting things. Mr. Gaurav Kapoor. And Dr. Vinod Murthy. I would just like to sum up the sustainability with one line, that we have been listening, we have been hearing, we have been planning, we have been recording a lot of things about sustainability, but now the time has come to execute it. We need to actually now, as academicians, and the people we are having, the managers who are going to be the future business managers, and we are all, that's our responsibility to give this awareness among the students and among this fraternity that we need to now bring the execution. I'll just give you one small example. This is a backdrop which are being used in every conferences. We had two venues. Every time we used to have two backdrops. This time we took only one backdrop, and that is our one effort of this conference for sustainability. Right. So it's now, right now we only have to start it. Right, and even if it is called reporting, companies are right now doing only tick in the box exercise. It will remain tick in the box till we start executing it, and it's a learning phase. It will take time. It will take time. We have to be patient. As academicians, I can understand that why she was getting that people are not doing it. It will take time. We are just at the infantry stage of this particular sustainability reporting. Thank you so much, all the panelists and all the guests and all the participants. And right now we are there for the lunch, and we close this panel session with this discussion. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. All the guests and dignitaries and all the participants, please join us for the lunch in Act 4. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. We'll just be starting the session in few minutes. I'm reaching there. We'll start the session. Manju ma'am, can you listen to us? Manju ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon, ma'am. Just we'll start the session. I'm just reaching there. Physically, I'm reaching there, and sir is Professor Mohammad Mehboob Ali. He is a senior professor and HOD of Economics Department, Dhaka University, Bangladesh, and ma'am is a professor in a management institute in New Delhi. And
Namaskar, sir.
Adab, sir.
Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar.
I'll just reach there, ma'am. Just give me a few minutes to reach to the venue.
No
Fine,
problem.
sir.
No
No
problem. No
problem.
problem. Ma'am, you are from New Delhi.
Yeah, I am from Delhi, Rohini.
New Delhi, what is the name of your institute, madam?
It's Rohini.
No, institute name.
Maharaja
New-
Agraseni Institute of Management Studies.
Oh, okay. There is another institute, I think, New Delhi Institute of Management, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Recently, I was there virtually. I participated in the conference. Good to meet with you, madam.
Same here, sir.
Okay.
I think this pandemic has provided the best part is that we can now meet on online also. So
Yes.
this type of practices has been developed, and we can communicate, we can share views.
Yes, we can share views.
Now these practices has been very popular. Earlier, I think no one is ready to join online, or there is no such kind of virtual meetings held earlier before pandemic.
You are 100% correct. This pandemic gives us a global flavor, and we
Yes,
can
sir.
continue discussion.
ये तो मेरा पक्का बन नहीं है, मेरा कोई प्रोग्राम हो ये तो आएगा ही आएगा। अभी इसमें 2-3 गेस्ट तो इसी में है। ये जो दोनों सीए थे दोनों इसी में उन्होंने परफॉर्मेंस
This other block, I'm just making it move to the other block. I mean, while reading in another 2-3 minutes. Please.
No problem, sir. Take time.
Manju ma'am, just will start. Other guests have reached here. Professor only will just be starting in few minutes.
No problem, sir. No problem.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to all. I, Ayush Arora from Amity College of Commerce and Finance, welcomes you all to the 5th International Conference organized by ICACCF. I would like to welcome to all the session chair members, faculty members, all the participants, and to all the students present here. Um, for the first session chair, I would like to welcome Dr. Mohammad Mahmood Ali, who is a professor of academic entrepreneurship in Dhaka School of Economics, University of Dhaka. Sir has received postdoctoral in entrepreneurship from Thailand and PhD in macroeconomics. He is a noted economist with expertise in IT. Sir has published 147 articles, 9 research-based books, and 18 short stories. Sir is a coordinator of entrepreneurship program, Dhaka School of Economics. He is a former professor, faculty of business and economics, and director, institutional quality assurance cell, Daffodil International University. He is a peer reviewer and member of core committee selected by QAU by UGC, HEQEP, and World Bank. Sir is country head and quality assurance expert of MTC Group India, editor general of IST on business and economics, ASIC consultant UK, member of editorial review board, Journal of Global Business and Trade, Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne, USA. Chairman, Center for Breakthrough Thinking in Bangladesh, Managing Editor, Journal of Banks and Bank Systems, Ukraine, Member Editorial Board, Journal of Accounting and Finance and Economics, Australia, International Editorial Consultant, Vision International Journal, Institute of Management and Technology, Faridabad, India. Member Editorial Board, Economy of Region, Russia. Member Editorial Board, Journal Problems and Perspective in Management, UK. Member Editorial Board, International Journal of Trade and Commerce, India. Professor Ali is a fellow World Business Institute, Australia, former Vice Chancellor, Presidency University, Bangladesh, member of General Body, Government nominated Bangladesh NGO Foundation, and former editor, Daffodil International University, Journal of Business and Economics. Sir is also Vice President, Bangladesh Academy for Business Administration. Thank you, sir.
Sir, Professor Mohammed sir. Professor Mohammed sir. Mohammed sir, can you listen to us? Mohammed sir, can you listen to us? We don't have. No. Mohammed sir, can you listen to us? Mohammed sir, can you listen to us, sir? Nice one.
Sir, your audio is coming, sir. Dipti sir. Mohammed sir, please unmute, sir.
Yes.
No, joining nine. Join meeting 1 second. ये क्या हो रहा है?
Hello, Deepti sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Perfectly, sir. Mohammed sir joined, sir.
सर उनको बुला लीजिए।
सर क्या एरर आ रहा है सर? सर कोई एरर आया है कि लैपटॉप?
We have logged out from the meeting.
We need some IT facilitations. We don't have anyone here, and it is getting locked up again and again.
Sir, you can join. Click on join a meeting button, sir. Join a meeting, sir. There is a button, join a meeting. Click on that button, and after write down meeting ID. Meeting ID is 861 1679 1931.
Sir.
Hello, sir. I am repeating, sir. 861 1679 1931.
लॉगअप हो जाता है यहाँ से, इसको तो ये आईडी पे दिखाएंगे, ये लॉगअप हो गया है।
Sir, click on join a meeting, and now write meeting ID 861 1679 1931.
931.
Yes, sir. Now click on join a meeting. Join.
It's asking email address.
Oh, no problem, sir. Type any email ID and any name, sir. Now, sir, are you joined, sir?
Yes, we joined.
Yes, you joined, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry everyone for the delay. There has been some internet issues going on. So I would like to welcome once again to all the session chair members. So is Dr. Mahmood here? Okay, is Dr. Mahmood here? Hello, am I audible? Hello, am I audible to you all?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you. So I would like to thank you. So sorry for the delay. I would like to welcome you all again to the 5th International Conference by Amity College of Commerce and Finance. I would like to welcome all the chair members, faculty members, and all the students present here to the conference. First session chair member, we have Professor Mahmood Ali, who is a professor of academic entrepreneurship in Dhaka School of Economics. Okay. So for the next session chair member, we have Dr. Poonam Khurana, who works as a professor, management, HR and OB, and counselor at Vivekananda Institute of Professional Studies, Delhi, India. She is also awarded with Best Teachers Award for the year 2018-19 at Vivekananda Institute of Professional Studies for her academic intelligence. Dr. Poonam received gold medal in the field of psychology. She has qualified UGC NET and also been awarded doctorate in organizational behavior from Faculty of Management Studies at University of Delhi. She has teaching experience of 16 years and teaching to BBA, MBA and BTech students under Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University. She also project director come psychologist approximately for 4 years and also rehabilitated around 700 cases and conducted research on the addicts. She has published work in the area of personal ethics, spirituality, interpersonal behavior, cognitive mapping, emotional intelligence, and teaching effectiveness. She has published one textbook titled Work Psychology and 5 edited books and over 43 articles, research papers in the national and international journals and conferences of repute IIMs, IITs, and Royal University Bhutan. She has been the editor and reviewer, national and international journals. She is invited as keynote speaker, session chair, expert in the national and international conference to the technical sessions. Welcome, ma'am. And now I would like to request Dr. Deepti sir.
Value is 0.001 for x variable and 0.04 for y variable, which is my signal level was 0.05, which is very, very low. It strengthened my the view that both the age group means below the 40 years and above the 40 years, things similar.
Research findings are audit committee is responsible for overseeing the company risk management. Effective should be taken for its strengthness and for presence in the all the listed companies.
If someone is just
Okay.
so for the next session co-chair member, Professor Manju Gupta, who is presently working as professor and head of Department of Commerce at Maharaja Agrasen Institute of Management Studies, Rohini, Delhi. She is MCom, MPhil and PhD. She has more than 2 decades of rich teaching experience in the area of finance and accounting. She has authored 3 books which are prescribed as textbooks, reference book by Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, Delhi University, University of Calcutta, Galgotia University, Manav Rachna, and many other universities. She has over 20 papers published in the national and international journals and conference proceedings.
Due to some glitch in our internet, we would like to once again welcome Dr. Mohammad Mahmood Ali is a professor of academic entrepreneurship in Dhaka School of Economics, University of Dhaka. Sir has received postdoctoral in internship from Thailand and PhD in microeconomics. He is a noted economist with expertise in IT. Sir has published 147 articles, 9 research-based books, and 18 short stories. Sir is the coordinator of entrepreneurship program, Dhaka School of Economics. He is former professor, Faculty of Economics, Faculty of Business and Economics, and Director, Institutional Quality Assurance Cell, Daffodil International University. He is a peer reviewer and member of core committee selected by QAU of UGC, HEQ, and World Bank. Sir is country head and quality assurance expert of MTC Group, India, editor, Journal of IST on business and economics, ASIC consultant, UK, member of editorial review board. He has also published journals of global business and trade, Indian University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne, USA, Chairman, Center for Breakthrough Thinking in Bangladesh, Managing Editor, Journal of Banks and Bank Systems. Ukraine, Member, Editorial Board, Journal of Accounting, Finance and Economics. Australia, International Editorial Consultant, Vision International Journal, Institute of Management and Technology. Faridabad, India, Member Editorial Board, Economic of Region, Russia Member, Editorial Board, Journal Problems and Perspectives in Management. Ukraine Member, Editorial Board, International Journal of Trade and Commerce, India. Professor Ali is a Fellow World Business Institute, Australia, former Vice Chancellor, Presidency University, Bangladesh, Member of General Board, Government nominated, Bangladesh NGO, Foundation and former editor, Daffodil International University Journal of Business and Economics. Sir is also Vice President, Bangladesh Academy for Business Administration. We once again welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Nidhi, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm there.
That PPT please share. Please PPT. So the PPT. This one. Share. Yes. बीच में पहले शुरू करते हैं. Nidhi, you can go on.
All right. Very good afternoon, everyone, and the honorable panel members, Professor Ali, Professor Manju, Professor Poonam Gupta. I am Dr. Nidhi Sahor, Assistant Professor, Bhavan Susha and Lakshmi Mittal Institute of Management, New Delhi. And today I'm presenting a paper on behalf of my student, Ms. T. Ramya, who is an advanced tax analyst with EY. So she couldn't make it for the presentation, and since it's a student faculty paper, so I have pitched in to present the paper on her behalf. So I'll quickly take you through the scheme of the presentation today. In case I request you to change the slide, please change the slide. So the structure of the presentation is introduction, objective of the study, literature review and gaps, research methodology, research findings and conclusion, implications and limitations, and then the references. Please change the slide. So coming to the introduction, we already know that India currently is a part of a growth story which has been brought in by a lot of reforms which has been introduced by the current regime in India. So under the quest of ease of doing business, Government of India came up with Startup India campaign. And the three main objectives of this campaign have been simplification and hand-holding of the startups, funding, support and incentives to the startups. And then last but not the least, a very important one, industry-academia partnership and incubation. Apart from this, the moment we talk about in this whole scheme, the incentive part of it, the tax incentives and the support which are being provided to these startups to make sure that these startups become financially viable, they can never be ignored. And our main focus and area of study in this paper or project has been looking at from the point of view of taxation, what support and incentives are available to the startups and whether they are actually aware about them or not. Please change the slide. So I'll just introduce to all of you the proposed system or the proposed approach for research that we adopted to conduct this study. So first of all, we started with the background of the study and the literature review, then identification of various policy measures associated with taxation aspects of the startups, which have already been introduced and are currently there in India. Then identification of respondents for in-depth interviews, because we have interviewed the startup owners with respect to their awareness levels of these tax incentives and concessions, and whether they are making use of them or not. And then we have collected plenty of secondary data from the government websites, tax consultant sites, published articles, newspapers, and digital content. So study has made use of both primary as well as secondary data, and analysis of data was the next subsequent step, leading to summarization of discussions, findings, and conclusion of the study. Next slide, please. So our study has got two objectives. The first objective is to study the taxation support and incentives for startups available to businesses in India, and then to find the awareness level of tax incentives. So suppose there is an incentive available, there is something which is beneficial for the startup owners within the policy ambit, but in case they are not aware about it, how they can make best use of it. So we just wanted to look at the whole situation from this particular aspect, and why you'll understand, because this is the research gap we identified when we reviewed the literature. Next slide, please. Next slide. So coming to the review of literature, so what we have done is we have not just looked at the published articles in this area in India, we rather looked at around the world as to what is happening there. So we came across articles published in USA that how tax liability varies based on initial incorporation location. So in US, when the country wanted to give a push to the startups, they kind of gave them certain special extra incentives based on the location where these startups are incorporated. And in US, you'll find the startups prefer to get incorporated at Delaware, because there they are able to enjoy maximum tax incentives. Then apart from the tax incentives, it is very important to look at the legal form of organization of the businesses, because some of the tax incentives, they are specifically linked to those specific legal form of organization. So we talk about legal form of organization of business, because they're students also. So for their knowledge, the traditional forms of legal form of business organization have been sole proprietorship, partnership, and a corporate form of entity. And then there are certain hybrid forms of organizing the business as well, which is limited liability partnership, limited liability company, one-person company. And in India also, they are existing post the introduction of Companies Act 1956. And then there are certain incentives these startups they can enjoy when they are legally organized as a certain type of form of business organization. So in India also, if they have to enjoy some of the incentives and benefits which are available under the policy ambit, they'll have to bare minimum register themselves as a partnership firm or a limited liability partnership firm, wherein they can make use of it. And there is also a dual advantage that they can register themselves as a corporate entity, and still they can be looked at in the income taxation or file their taxation as an SSC under the Income Tax Act, just like an SSC under income from business and profession. So there, they are saved off from the tax burden which comes under the corporate taxation. So the thing is, most of the startup owners, they have very less knowledge on these aspects, and this is something which we wanted to find out. So we looked at some of the research papers. Please go back to the slides. We looked at another slide back. Research papers from USA, we looked at research papers from Russia, Ukraine, then we looked at research papers from Asian countries like Thailand, Indonesia. So what we actually found was that every other country, so it's not just that, all these research papers, they are very, what I'll say, recent ones. So a good number of papers are published in 2020, 2021. So they are very recent papers. So whatever that we are doing in our country to make sure.
Can we take just few minutes?
Yeah.
Nidhi?
Yes, sir.
Please come up with your conclusion, because you have only 3 minutes left. So
Sure, sir. Sure,
time
sir.
for research gap.
Sure, sir. So, what we concluded was that every other country in the region, they were working towards making sure that the startups, they do great in their countries. So what is the gap that we identified was that every other regime in different countries, including India, they have come up with so many tax concessions and policy measures to support the startups. But the gap that we identified was that nowhere in the literature it was mentioned or it was studied that wherein we are trying to find it out from the startup owners that whether they are making use of these incentives or not, whether they are aware of them or not, and in case they are aware and they want to make use of it, whether they are finding certain difficulties and challenges in that. Please, next slide. Next slide, please. Coming to the research methodology, we divided the research into the two parts. The first part was, just going through the available literature of policy available in India by way of, information provided by various ministries and government of India and various, websites, tax blogs and everything. And from there, we find out certain findings based on the secondary research that we did. And when we looked at the policy ambit or the framework which is there to support the startup ecosystem, it can be looked at broadly from 10 points of view, wherein the first one is policies which can reduce startup risk, policies which can reduce cost of startup activity, and then the third and the important one, which was our main focus, the policies which were focused on providing tax incentives and concessions to the startup. And then other policies, the one which I talked about, the industry academia collaboration, Atal Innovation Mission, and then certain funds dedicated to support incubation of startups. Next slide, please. And the primary research when we interviewed the startup owners, so we just chose the nascent startup owners which had startups of less than 3 years, and we interviewed on certain aspects whether they were aware of this huge policy ambit which was available to them to take certain incentives and concessions which can make their businesses more financially viable. So what we actually realized was that a good number of them had a focus on GST and not on direct taxes like income tax, and in the eyes of income tax, what kind of assessee they are and how they have to go about filing their taxes and what benefits and tax concessions are available. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So the major findings emerging from this study can be stated below that, the startup owners, irrespective of their qualifications, they can go ahead with their startups, but then in case they are more educated and aware, that is going to help them in making their, startups more financially viable. And apart from GST, they should also look for, direct income tax return filings and make use of the policy measures and tax concessions which are available to them.
Didi,
Yes, sir.
your time is over. Please be
Yes,
time.
yes,
Only
Next
10
slide.
minutes.
Next slide, please, sir. So I'm done with my presentation. So the conclusion is the findings demonstrate that the Indian startup ecosystem is actually doing great. But the thing is, as the government is going to push for more, yes, sir.
Nidhi, will you wind up
Yes,
your
the site's already wound up. So in case they'll create more awareness and the startup owners are more aware about it, they can make best use of the policy incentives as far as taxation is concerned. So in case there are any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Dr. Poonam this side. Nidhi, nice presentation. Just few questions that I need to ask. Manju ma'am, do I have the permission? Okay.
Sure, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I think if you could elaborate more on research part, because much was more focused on your literature part. So I missed that research methodology. So I am just curious to know that you have mentioned about telephonic interviews.
Yes.
Right, from telephonic interviews, you have collected the data.
Yes.
So how you have made that qualitative analysis of that? I'm interested into like
Yeah,
what.
yeah. See, since these were, in-depth interviews, so there was plenty of qualitative data. So
Mhm.
not much we could, analyze it based on the tools, but then whatever, percentages we could get, with respect to how many of them have PAN numbers, how many of them have, tax filings, how many of them are actually aware about, GST or a certain kind of, how many have got actually a legal form of business organization, or because they are in very, very nascent phases. So even they do not have much of the data and information to share with us. So to begin with, since it's a working paper, this was the only information we could collect from them and then quantitatively present.
Okay, fine. And the next thing is you have collected literature, like mainly you have used secondary data as well. So I couldn't find any data since last 2-3 years. Like
In the literature you're talking about?
yeah, in literature review.
Literature, it is all 2021, then 2020, 2019, 17. So I think the oldest paper is 2013.
Yeah, there must be, I think, comparative difference in, you can say, your tax planning, maybe in COVID times and before COVID times. So could you?
That was, this study was conducted or interviews were conducted before pandemic. So it's
Okay.
not, it has nothing to do with pandemic. Study was conducted before that.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
so the, we just
Okay,
we'll have
thank-
to interview them again in that case.
Okay, thank you, Nidhi. Over to you, and Manju ma'am and Mehboob sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nidhi.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Manju ma'am, do you have any question? Manju ma'am, do you have any questions?
Thank you, sir.
Do you have any questions? Mehboob sir, do you have any?
It is a wonderful presentation, but my just one curiosity, how your study can be implemented into other countries where especially emerging economies.
Yes, sir, certainly. In fact, I was really happy to find certain studies conducted in Indonesia and Thailand as well, and then emerging countries. If I'll say, Russia and India also I have seen. And then what was the interesting thing that I found was that when we looked at the policies which are there in place and looked at here in India and even in USA, there is a major emphasis on the taxation part, that in case you are able to, give some tax reductions and rebates and concessions, and the same money is available with the entrepreneur to, flow it back in their business, increase their capital, reduce burdens on them, that really works well. So what I have seen, that most of the policies around the world, they're pretty harmonized vis-a-vis, being major differences or contradictions being there. So certainly what I've seen is that India has become the third largest startup hub, but then every other country is making sure that their economies becomes sustainable, because in case there's not a push on entrepreneurship and then startups are not nurtured, it's going to be very difficult to have sustainable economies. So from the point of view of sustainability, I've seen every other country is working in this direction. I'm so happy that our country has not been left behind. We have actually, taken the policy decisions at right time in 2016, and now we have become the third largest as far as startups are concerned.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Nidhi.
Next, we have Ms. Anju Mehra.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anju Mehra, and my guide is Dr. Harsh Kumar. Today, I'm here to present my topic, a study of progress of Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. Introduction. The current study attempts to review the current status of Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana and its effect on financial inclusion. Financial inclusion is crucial for the growth of any country. The main national objective for RBI and Government of India is to achieve financial inclusiveness in India. According to Dr. C. Rangarajan, Chairman of the Committee on Financial Inclusion, 2008, financial inclusion is the process of ensuring access to financial services, products, and timely availability of credit facilities also. This was an effort taken by RBI and Government of India to bridge the gap between financial services and the financial products to the vulnerable section of the society who do not have access to financial services. Various schemes have been started to decrease financial inclusion in India, like basic saving banks account, simplifying KYC norms, banking correspondence, administrator financial literacy programs, Kisan credit cards, Aadhaar link payment system, direct benefit transfer, electronic benefit transfer, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, etc. are launched to expand financial inclusion in India. Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana was launched by Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, on 15th August 2014 and came into action on 28th August 2014 nationally. Objective of the PMJDY is to provide access to basic banking and financial services like opening a bank account with the limited requirements to be fulfilled, depositing money, insurance, taking loans, etc. to the disadvantaged sections for whom these facilities are not accessible. Under PMJDY, account can be opened with zero minimum balance that also balance that pays debit card is issued to the account holder when enables them to take overdraft facility up to rupees 10,000, which was earlier 5,000 rupees. In its first year of launch, 17.90 crore accounts were opened. Till now, 44.23 crore accounts have been opened, of which 34.9 crore were public sector banks, 8.09. Objectives of the study is to analyze the awareness about the scheme. Next objective is to study the extent of the target achieved under PMJDY in terms of financial inclusion. Next is to examine the reach of accounts under PMJDY across different strata of users. And next is to study the progress of PMJDY scheme in Karnal district. Methodology of study. Secondary research has been undertaken to review the impact and effectiveness of financial inclusion of the Government of India and RBI and the Indian banking system in achieving the objective of the inclusive financial system. From the data collected through secondary sources, data was collected from published articles, journals, reports, and websites. And primary data will be collected by using a structured questionnaire from respondents in the Karnal district for evaluating the progress of PMJDY from 28 August 2014 to 31st December 2021. No, ma'am, not yet. It's a working paper, actually. Yes, sir, will be corrected. Yes. Ma'am, actually, I have to. Okay. Okay. Yes, sir, yes. So these were the accounts opened in 2015 and next one. And these are the account details till now, 16 Conclusion. The Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana scheme was introduced to solve the financial inclusion of a large part of the population. The primary agenda of PMJDY is to make it possible for the weaker section and low-income groups to take advantage of financial services and products. This research is about the awareness of the scheme and its usage. With the help of the scheme, Government of India is able to connect millions of people to the Indian banking system and remove the financial inclusion. According to the study, Government of India and RBI should pay more attention to creating awareness and encouraging account holders to take active participation in activities like saving, depositing, credit facilities, etc. PMJDY scheme is a great initiative on the part of the government towards removing financial inclusion in India.
Okay, thank you, Anju. I don't have any question, but a simple query.
Yes.
Why did you choose this topic for your research?
Ma'am, my topic for thesis is financial inclusion, and so that's why I chose Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, because it's a great initiative to remove financial exclusion. So that's why I
Okay.
chose.
Okay, that's why you want to make a research on the awareness level of this
Yes, ma'am.
yojana.
Ma'am, actually, they are like people are not aware about. First, in study, I got to know that people are opening accounts, but they are not reaping the benefits. They are not financially aware of the benefits. So a lot of people are just opening account and leaving it that
Okay,
way.
so this is one of working paper from your PhD research,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, okay, thank you. Over to you, sir.
Okay, Dr. Rachna, I have a question. From where you have collected the data?
Actually, ma'am, I have collected secondary data from the official site of PMJDY and from RBI. And further, I'm working on questionnaire to collect more data.
Okay. And what type of research methodology you are going to use for your research?
Ma'am,
Research
Yes.
methodology.
Yes, sir.
yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes.
I want to thank Modi ji for his innovative idea, Pradhan Mantri Yojana scheme. Now, is there any opportunity for financial literacy among the poor income strata people? And if you are going to test, there is a relationship between financial literacy and financial inclusion among the paupers. Is there any scope for you in your study?
Yes, sir, financial literacy is very important because people are just opening their accounts. But they are not aware of the benefits they can avail. Like there are insurance facilities there, overdraft facilities there, but they don't know about it, so they are not taking benefit of these benefits.
Thank you.
If people are more aware of finance, if they are more aware about these things, so financial exclusion can be removed from the country.
That's correct. But you will have to test it. Correlation between these two.
Anju, I have one question only. The question is, what is your research methodology? I couldn't understood any research methodology. What was the basic idea of collecting the primary data and secondary data? And you are most confused about the data part. Thereafter will come analysis. Thereafter will come how to carry out all these things. So I think you have not worked out in the research methodology part.
I'll look into it.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Ms. Rashida Salman.
Why the class is missing from the students? What are you doing here?
Not shared yet.
Yes.
A very hearty good afternoon to everyone present over here. My name is Rashida Salmani. The topic for my research here is a study on physical disability using bibliometric analysis. My PhD guide is Dr. Geeta Mishra and my PhD co-guide is Dr. Ashwini Kumar Singh. So I would firstly like to state that it is still a working paper, okay? And it is a part of a larger project, that is my PhD thesis. I am working on the challenges and the opportunities of students with disabilities in higher education. So this paper in particular talks about person with disability, and I wanted to look at it in a bibliometric kind of a way, so that I can enable other researchers also to look into this area, so that they don't have to in particular go to like each research paper again and again. They can simply take a look at my bibliometric study, and then they can find out what literature is available to them. So yes, sir. Okay. Yes, sir, it's a scientific method. Yes, sir. Sir, actually, as for the research gaps, since I have only analyzed the total number of data that I received was 847. Out of those 847, I have only studied 105 research papers. Based on that 105, I could actually come down to only 20 papers that are or need to us in our study. So, sir, major research gaps were not established here, but the research questions for this particular research were: how has the literature on the relationship of physical disability evolved over time? So I have simply read the evolution of this topic. I have tried to find out the most frequently used keywords. So this was my criteria for data collection. My keywords were students with physical disability and physical disability studies, physical disability in higher education. And I have considered here papers from 2022 and 2021 from social sciences, and the language was English. So, sir, out of, again, what I just said, out of 105 papers, only 20 articles were shortlisted because they were most prominent for our study. This is a visual representation using the software WasViewer. So herein you're able to see the keywords that were highlighted in my study. So ma'am and sir, there are paper available in the area of physical disability, wherein physical activity and physical ability disability is connected to education, and how COVID-19 has impacted physical disability and students with physical disability in higher education, and various stages like gender wise also studies have checked the impact of physical disability on higher education in terms of the male and female population. The limitations that I would like to state of the study, ma'am and sir, I have collected data from Scopus database only. So if I were in a position to collect data from other sources too, probably I would have been able to collect more refined data. I have used only the software WasViewer, wherein I could have also incorporated other softwares like BiblioShiny. And ma'am, since I have only considered 105 papers, which I plan to expand my horizon. So probably in the larger study of this, I'll probably be bringing out more papers. So I'll be covering more papers. That's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, to find out the citation, co-citation related data, so that when the researcher looks at a bibliometric study, simply by reading one paper alone, the researcher would be able to fathom the idea of, let's say, in my case, if I am reading 847 papers. So if you are a researcher who is also interested in my area, so you simply can take a look at my paper and you'll be able to gauge an idea of what it is that I am trying to do, or what it is that researchers in the area of disability are trying to do, so that you'll be able to identify gaps better. You'll be able to know the graph of citations, co-citations, the use of keywords, so that you can refine your search, so that your review of literature becomes scientific and you don't have to manually read every single paper.
May I ask a question?
Sure, sir, definitely.
Okay. First of all, how you define physical disability? Without defining physical disability, how you going to do the research? Because there are a lot of types of physical disability. Which type of physical disability you actually want to explore in this thesis?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for your question, sir. Sir, in my case, the physical disabilities that I am studying are actually established by the Rehabilitation of Person with Disability Act of 2016. So, sir, the physical disabilities I can actually list you here. Is my slide visible?
no need. But you have to define first the physical disability, because there are a lot of types of physical disability.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So for my study, yes, sir, I am since the physical disability under the Rehabilitation of Person with Disability Act of 2016 here in India, it says that we cover locomotor disability, which further incorporates leprosy cured people, cerebral palsy, dwarfism, muscular dystrophy, and acid attack victims. Then we have visual impairment that involves blindness and low vision. Then we have hearing impairment that involves deaf and hard of hearing. Then there's also speech and language related disabilities, sir. And so in terms of higher education, since in India, we promise a 5% reservation for people with disabilities. So, sir, my idea of this entire, like my thesis is largely based on to see whether or not these opportunities that are available to people with disability, whether or not they are in a position to avail those opportunities. So that is like the idea. I hope that answers your question, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Rashida.
Yes, ma'am.
I must appreciate very good topic you have chosen
Thank
for
you
your
so much,
research.
ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, so just one query, like finally you have reached up to only 20 research
Yes,
papers for
ma'am.
that. So how are you going to justify with like 20 papers for your research?
No, ma'am, I am definitely in a process to read more papers. I get it that 20 papers is definitely not a justification. So, ma'am, after like I
Yeah,
have
please
filtered out.
carry forward this research
Yes, ma'am,
and find for
definitely.
some
Yes,
more
ma'am.
papers so that you can justify your
Yes,
thesis
ma'am. Yes,
work.
ma'am. For this particular conference, I have only like read and highlighted those larger 105 papers, out of which I was able to come down to 20. But like I have a collection of 847 papers. Anything else?
I have one more suggestion that
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Please, definitely. Yes.
please incorporate the primary study also.
Yes, ma'am. I have actually interviewed people with disability in another research paper of mine that has already been communicated to a journal that is Scopus and ABDC listed. So, ma'am, therein I have interviewed acid attack survivors who are also a part of physical disability. I wish it gets published soon so that you'll be able to go through it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Next, we have Ms. Meghna Joshi.
It's a PDF. I think Adobe did it. It's a PDF file.
This PDF file you have to open PDF.
I guess I need to share it. So it should be accepted or let's get an opening in micro edges.
Rajni is there.
Next, we have Rajni Ratha.
For right now, we'll share it.
Change this to Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rajni Ratta. I'm a PhD research scholar of Amity College of Commerce and Finance. My topic is 2 decades of digital transformation in healthcare, a review and a research agenda. My PhD guide is Dr. J.S. Sodi.
Moving to the introduction part, what is digital transformation? Digital transformation is an incorporation of computer-based technologies in the product process and the strategies to create new customer experience, generate new revenue streams, improve operational efficiency, and rapidly respond to the changing conditions. Going to the next part, that is digital transformation in healthcare. What is digital transformation in healthcare? It is basically the use of latest technologies, methodologies, and the process to deliver sustainable value to the patient, healthcare professionals, and the healthcare organizations. These are the recent technology trend that has revolutionized the healthcare. That is, number one is virtual reality. Virtual reality is used for the medical diagnosis and in pain management. Artificial intelligence had a wide applicability in the healthcare. It is used for as a symptom checker. It is used in medical image analysis. Going to the next, that is Internet of Things. It helps in providing good patient outcomes, and it provides safety to the healthcare professionals also and the patients also. Use of big data in healthcare is very large. It is used for medical. It is used in detection of medical errors. It is used in providing real-time data alert. Going to the telemedicine, telemedicine has a very large usage during the COVID times when patients cannot meet the doctor in physical mode. They have gone to the virtual meetings. And the last is wearable technologies, and it is also in very trend. The people nowadays wear smart watches to activity to note their activity monitoring, and also for early detection of the diseases. These are the previous literature review studies on the digital transformation in HC. Many literature reviews have been done in the following subject, but there has been no study which indicates the state and the progress of digital transformation in healthcare over the last 2 decades. So these are my research questions. Number one is, how is digital transformation of healthcare being defined? Number two, what is the current state of digital transformation of healthcare in literature? And there are some sub questions also that include how many studies have been published from 2002 to 22, which countries were the major contributor, what were the top journals and most cited authors, and what type of research studies were conducted for the digital transformation of healthcare. This is the research methodology. A database, I have taken the Scopus. The search term, I have employed the digital transformation and the healthcare. Document type, I have taken only articles, not the conference paper. Language is English, and time span, I have taken 2 decades, that is 2002 to 2022. These are my analysis and the findings. How is digital transformation of healthcare being defined? These are the different definitions given by the different authors. DT in HC refers to the adoption of new technologies that enable the shift from a quality towards the secure, high quality care. Different authors say that use of information and communication technologies to improve the human health, healthcare service and wellness for individual and across the population. Another author has defined it as a new business opportunities to address issues in medical practice, value creation, and other problems related to, and among others, the aging society.
Sorry to interrupt you in between. I just want to know what is the digital transformation for a healthcare industry. What is your definition on this? Is the definition which is written in literature review. What is the definition you have created after studying all these literature review? Can you tell us?
Ma'am, digital transformation in healthcare is basically the use of latest technologies in the healthcare for the so ma'am, patient for the patient also and for the healthcare professionals also. They are using the latest technologies for the diagnostic process, for medical analysis, image analysis, for symptoms checking.
Sorry to interrupt. One thing, you actually did not mention 2 important points. One is blockchain technology. Another is robotics. There are 9 types of robotics in the healthcare system, and blockchain technology is very important in case of digital transformation. Sorry, but your presentation is still now excellent. Please incorporate these 2 things: blockchain technology and robotics.
Okay, sir, definitely I will do. Moving to the next slide, what is the current state of digital transformation of healthcare? If you look at the graph, we can see very less studies have been published before the 2015, and after 2015, there was slight increase in the publication. The count of the year was highest for 2021 at 92. And the year 2021 is also an exceptional year due to the coronavirus pandemic. And after 2021, it was followed by 2020 with 58 papers, and followed by 2019 with 33 papers. These are the major top countries who are the major contributor based on their number of publications, with leading is US with 57 articles, United Kingdom with 37 articles, and Germany with 28 articles, followed by Italy 27, Australia 23, and with India at the 7th position with 22 articles. These are the top journals for the digital transformation in healthcare study. Number one being the IEEE Access with the total number of 8 publications falling in the category of quartile 1. Number 2 is Australian Health Review with total number of 6 publications falling in the quartile 2. Technovation with 6 publications falling in the quartile 1. Number 4 is International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health with total number of 5 publications, quartile 2. Study in the Health Technologies and Informatics with total number of 5 publications falling in the category of quartile 3. Now, these are the top cited authors for the digital transformation in healthcare. Okay. Number 1 is Ojal Wiltram, Aryu Santan, and UR Acharya with the highest cited by at 93. Next is Daniel MacDuff, Bona Trek, Sarah Rosild, W. Pickard with 86 citation. Number 3 position, Sanjay R. Batikar, Kurt D. Groff, and Roop Al Mahajan with 84 citations. Barnes Stuart J. with 78 citation, and German Matthew et al. With 78 citations. Now, after going through the literature review, I found that, yes, sir. So this, after going to the literature review, I have divided the review papers into 4 main parts, that is 4 clusters. Number 1 is technological implementation. Yes. This conclusion, the present study was conducted to provide a glimpse and a trend of research on the digital transformation in healthcare over the past 2 decades. Research in this study is focused on evaluating the present state of knowledge concerning DT in HC. While DT in HC is underway, it's still in the early stages and has not yet penetrated in the healthcare sector enough. This study may aid both the healthcare manager and the academic since it gives information on the digital transformation initiatives. A research agenda is proposed to examine the digital transformation through future studies, which there is a great scope. These are the future research questions. Which is the preferred technology for initiating digital transformation of healthcare? How important is the top management commitment in driving the successful transformation of healthcare? Or number 3, does digital transformation has a negative impact on healthcare industry or not? Thank you so much.
Ma'am, I have a query. Can you explain the current state of India in this area?
Ma'am, going through the slides, we can say in India, there have been only 22 articles published in the last.
I'm not asking about the articles, ma'am. I'm not asking about the articles. I'm asking about where India stands.
Ma'am, India is in a progressive way. It has not penetrated deeply in the healthcare. It is in its starting age.
Okay.
Madam, one thing, why don't you take some Indian hospital and take their situations in your study? So you should develop the research methodology more focus based, because what others say, that is not important. The most important thing, what India is doing, because India is a very good, and they have declared the health sector in 1990 as export sector. So to sustain in the export sector, they must have provided the digitalization in the hospitals. So, ma'am, take some examples, and you should redesign your research methodology and how they can improve, and what are the policy, what are the implications for the policy level. That is very important. But I like the idea of research, but not take so much articles from where it is published. This is not important. The most important, why India stands, just few minutes back the madam said. That is the most important thing. Then. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you, Rajni, for your presentation. Very good questions, very intelligent questions already asked by Mehboob sir and Manju ma'am. So I have a very simple question. Why 2 decades of digital transformation? Why 2 decades? Any justification for that? Means, do you assume that this digital transformation is in healthcare is since last 2 decades?
No, ma'am, it's not from last 2 decades. It have
So,
digital transformation in healthcare has started before also, but it's only like a theme that 2 decades of.
okay, but still, if you are like taking your all research on the basis of 2 decades, so there must be some answer to the question.
It's only like a theme. I have taken that 2 decades of.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sir, will be take care of the research methodology part. I don't see anything which is contributing towards your research.
Sir.
Take care of the research methodology.
Thank you, sir.
Next we have Ms. Renuka Kapoor.
Good afternoon, first of all. I am Renuka Kapoor and my topic for the presentation is Concept and Application of Ambidexterity in Organizational Setup, a literature review based summary. So this is literature review based paper and the author for this paper is me, Renuka Kapoor, and Dr. Vishal Kamra sir, who is assistant professor at Amity School of Business, Amity University, and Dr. Sujata Khandai, professor and officiating head, Amity School of Business. Coming to the introduction part, ambidexterity in organization is all about balancing two opposing competencies in organization, that is exploitation and exploration. In journal, journal, ambidexterity is all about balance, using the left hand and the right hand equally at the same time. And in the organizational context, the ambidextrous organization is the ability to take advantage of existing resources, competencies, and product market while laying the foundation for future growth through innovation and experimentation. It is basically trying to take care of the core business with the right hand and also the innovation with the left hand for better future growth. The two approaches to obtain the ambidextrous organization is structural approach and contextual approach. The structural approach basically has the task of addressing both exploration and exploitation by architecturally splitting them into separate units, and contextual approach is validating certain internal contextual factors by allowing employees to demonstrate alignment and adaptability within the same unit. It is a behavioral process basically. I review a lot of literature from various sources like Scopus, Science Direct, and after reading the extract, I saw a few literature. First is Exploration versus Exploitation, an empirical test of ambidexterity hypothesis, which is in 2004. It was the study conducted on 2006 manufacturing enterprises, which states that the interaction of exploration and exploitative innovative techniques is positively related to sales growth rate, and vice versa, the sales growth is negatively correlated with the proportional imbalance between exploration and exploitative innovative strategy. And then coexistence of structural and contextual ambidexterity in the evidence of Indian organization. It was done in 2015, which state that the contextual ambidexterity complements structural ambidexterity and vice versa.
Then the investigation of resource allocation mechanism for exploration and exploitation under limited resources. As we all know, resources are very limited. We have to make the optimum utilization of resources. So for the under the limited resources age, we need to be ambidextrous. And the findings also revealed that organizations focusing on exploration with the stronger sensitivity to firm performance gap will have faster long-term performance growth. Innovation ambidexterity and firm performance, an empirical study of high-tech firms in Taiwan, which is in 2011. This paper basically helped us to understand the concept innovation ambidexterity, and it defined as a company's ability to assist individuals who contribute to efficiency and innovation within the organization. The study construct a concept of innovation ambidexterity and elaborate on innovation ambidexterity on three factors: strategy, openness, and innovativeness. Then innovation ambidexterity, that is balancing exploitation and exploration for startups and established restaurants and impact upon performance. Okay. Okay. Sir, as this is all about a literature review based summary. So the study gauges the awareness of organization on the concept and its application. The benefits of applying the concept of ambidexterity in the firm are studied. The application of exploitation of resources as well as exploration of resources individually and simultaneously has been studied. And my research methodology is based on review of published research papers on organizational ambidexterity. And I explored electronic databases such as Scopus, Science Direct, Emerald, Insight, and Google Scholar using combination of the keywords organizational ambidexterity, exploitation, as well as exploration. And in my discussion and analysis part, the findings suggest that innovation has a moderating effect on relationship between organizational ambidexterity and performance, and the rate of sales growth is positively related to interaction between exploration and exploitation innovation strategies, and vice versa is also possible. And the coexistence of structural and contextual ambidexterity both complement each other, and there is always a need for balance, exploitation, and exploration for sustained performance. The limitations of my studies are.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Can you share your previous slide? Okay. So these are the findings just on the basis of literature review which you have done.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Limitations of my study is as it is based on review of literature, so it is not an empirical research, and it even lacks extensive review of literature, and it is done in a shorter period of time. So there is a future scope in which we can use primary data-based empirical research, and extensive review of literature can also be studied, and applications in different industries of organizational ambidexterity can also be studied. These are my references. Sir, actually, tentatively, I want to pursue my PhD thesis in organizational ambidexterity. For my concept clarity, I review the literature and from different sources, and I get the concept clarity that innovation ambidexterity is the present need. Means under the limited resources, the firm needs to be ambidextrous. That is to focus both on the both exploitation and exploration simultaneously. Sir, there is a lot of research. Okay, sir, there is a lot of scope because this topic is quite uncovered, and it can be applicable in different industries, and the application in different industries is yet to be explored, sir. Ambidextrous. Okay, ma'am, as the company which is manufacturing, it has already products which are in market. They can make best use of that product and also innovate for the new product so that it can sustain in a long run. Ma'am, most MNCs adopt this idea, ma'am. Sorry? Sorry, sir, I did not get. No, sir. No, sir. It is all manually. Sir, it lacks scientific study, sir. Sir, my paper lacks. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ma'am, thank you for your nice presentation. Just one suggestion, it is wonderful. On the basis of the literature review, you can subdivide your analysis in different areas. So try to do it so that it will give you clear-cut picture what sort of comment was made by author. On that basis, you will have to find out where the literature gaps are there. That is my suggestion on it.
Sir, the ma'am. Okay, sir. The voice is not, ma'am, clear actually.
Should I repeat again?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I told you to subdivide your literature review part in different areas.
Okay.
And from that area, you will have to find out where literature gap is prevailing. And that area should be readdressed.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Ms. Ranjini Tuteja.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rajni Tuteja, and I'm pursuing PhD from ICACCF. And my research topic is mapping the literature on sustainability reporting and corporate governance, a bibliometric analysis. And I have prepared this paper under the guidance of my supervisor, Dr. Parita Goyal. So this is the introduction. Sustainability reporting is the latest buzzword in the area of corporate reporting, and sustainability reporting means the disclosure and communication of ESG goals and companies' progress towards them. There are various factors at firm level and country level that influence the disclosure of organization, sustainability disclosure of organization. As Shibli et al. Has noted, that level of sustainability performance is largely determined by the manner in which the organizations are governed. So it means corporate governance has a role to play in sustainability reporting. Therefore, the study attempts to collate the articles related to sustainability reporting and corporate governance using bibliometric analysis. Bibliometric analysis is a scientific method which summarizes large amount of data, large quantities of bibliometric data to present the state of intellectual structure and emerging trends in the field of research. This is a gist of literature review that I have done. It is a mix of different literature review. I have taken oldest paper of 2004 as well as latest paper of 2022, which basically deals with the different aspects of corporate governance and sustainability reporting. This is a research gap for my paper. When I was looking for papers, I came across studies like sustainability reporting, bibliometric analysis, corporate governance bibliometric analysis, but I couldn't find any study which collate both the topics together using bibliometric analysis. So this is a research gap for my study. Objectives of the study are: number one, to map the development in the area of sustainability reporting and corporate governance in terms of number of annual publications, which journals are publishing the most on the topic, and most relevant authors in the specific area, most influential countries which are contributing to the topic. And number two, the objective is to perform bibliometric analysis on the research papers obtained in terms of keyword co-occurrence, bibliographic coupling, and co-authorship network of authors. So this is the search criteria that I have used. Keywords that I have used are corporate governance or board of director, board composition, board structure, and for sustainability reporting, sustainability report or environmental report. Initially, 285 articles were retrieved using the above keywords. Next. Other criteria that I have used are the document type that I have used are articles and review papers and publication stage which were in final, and I have excluded article in press papers. Language I have used is in English. So finally, the sample consisted of 226 articles. Research tools used are BiblioShiny and VOSviewer. Bibliometric analysis that I have done are divided into two parts. One is performance analysis and number two is science mapping. So as regard performance analysis, I have done these four, you can say analysis. Annual publication, top journals, top authors, top countries. And for science mapping, I have done keyword analysis, which is also known as co-occurrence of keyword analysis, bibliographic coupling, and co-authorship analysis. So as regarding the number one objective, number of yearly publications, as you can see from the figure, the publications have increased after 2014 and it is still increasing, although there was a dip in 2021, and I have the period that I have covered is 2000 to 2022. So it is a period of 22 years. So we can see publications have increased after 2012. These are the top journals that are publishing in the concerned area. Sustainability, Switzerland tops the list, followed by business strategy and the environment. Corporate social responsibility and environment is at number 3 place. So if a researcher is working in the area of sustainability reporting and corporate governance, so these are the top journals that one can eye for publishing as well as for retrieving the papers. These are the most relevant authors. Top 3 authors are Alshair H, Amran A, and Miron, who are working in the area, and each of them shares 4 publications. The most influential countries are Australia, publishes the most with 28 articles, and it has 1044 citations, followed by Spain, which has 24 articles, and Malaysia 24. Keyword analysis, it is also known as co-occurrence of keywords. So keyword analysis is a technique that examines the actual content of the publication. We use actual keywords that are set by the authors. So analysis of keyword co-occurrence helps us to identify the hot spots in the fields. As you can see from the timeline, this timeline is from 2014 to 2020. The yellow part in the diagram is the recent areas. So an author, a researcher can look for these areas. These are the hotspot areas in the field of corporate report, sustainability reporting and corporate governance. As you can see, the points in yellow are integrated reporting, environmental disclosure, stakeholder engagement, and performance. Bibliographic coupling. So bibliographic coupling is a technique for science mapping that operates on the assumptions that the publication sharing the common references also shares similar theme. Their content is also similar. So by performing bibliographic coupling on the documents, this is the diagram that I've obtained. It is consisted of 6 clusters. The major clusters are in green, red, and purple. So the green cluster talks about the drivers of sustainability reporting, like what are the factors that affect sustainability reporting. It can be both gender diversity, or what are the other factors that affect the sustainability reporting. The cluster in red has articles that discuss about the impact of sustainability reporting on the performance, be it financial performance or otherwise. So these are the six cluster, but I have explained only 2 which are major in terms of documents. Co-authorship of authors. Co-authorship of authors basically is a way to determine the patterns of collaboration in the field. So by looking at the picture, you can see Khalid and Farooq, they share the most papers together. They have written the paper together. So this was about co-authorship of authors. Practical implications are bibliometric analysis can be used by the budding researchers. They can find out suitable outlets for different thematic clusters, and this technique also helps them to identify the major upcoming emerging themes in the area. They can also target the potential journals in which they can get their work published, and they can identify the authors with whom they can collaborate for their topic. So this was all about my presentation. Thank you so much.
can I ask a question? Why you choose both difficult thing in one segment, corporate governance and sustainability reporting? So either you should do on sustainability reporting or on corporate governance, because it is very difficult, ma'am.
Sir, can you please repeat your question?
I'm telling that why you choose both in a same basket, sustainability reporting as well as corporate governance, because sustainability reporting, it has a lot of dimensions. Similarly, corporate governance has 3 dimensions, and it has people, place, and planet accounting processes. So why you have choose to both the basket in one dimension?
So sustainability reporting or any sort of reporting, corporate reporting, is ultimately the responsibility of the management. So I have linked sustainability reporting with corporate governance because ultimately they are responsible for the preparation of these reports.
But how can it help you long-term sustainability if competency cannot be created by the organization?
I have looked just at just one aspect of sustainability reporting, that is corporate governance. Many other can be explored, sir.
So when you are exploring, so you must specify that.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Just maybe coming from your academic interest, like how much motivated you feel about this topic? Like,
Yes, ma'am, this is the topic for PhD, so I'm very much motivated.
Fine.
Thank you.
Manju ma'am.
Is there any good research work in this area in India? Have you incorporated any author, this 285 articles you have studied?
I couldn't get your question, ma'am.
I think you have mentioned in one of your slides that you have studied this 285 research papers.
227, ma'am.
Okay, that number may be wrong.
I've not studied them. I've just went through some of the abstracts.
Okay, you go through the abstracts. Okay, have you find out any Indian author who have written very good on this topic?
Yes, I have included in my literature review as well one paper from Kishore Kumar. So
Okay.
he's working in the area of sustainability reporting, corporate governance, and ownership structure.
Okay.
What's your name, Rajni? Rajni, I have only two questions. The first question is, what do you mean by sustainability? Here, sustainability reporting you are telling. What is the meaning of sustainability? First question.
Sustainability means meeting the need of the present without compromising the needs for future. We
So
should
what
live,
do you mean by future?
for the future generations who are coming, we should not empty this whole planet. We should leave something for them also.
Okay. The second question is that you have identified the research gap. In the research gap, you mentioned that no research study has been done on this topic using the bibliometric analysis.
On these topics collectively.
Yes. How you come to this conclusion? What is the basis of making such a statement or comment?
So I have searched for papers. I have used the keyword sustainability reporting.
But do you think that you have included all the papers so that there are maybe many papers? What is the basis? How you back up this statement? Because when you say no research study and limited research study, they are different. But you are saying no research study. You are negating everything. Maybe all the researchers.
Because I have searched for these topics together, I have not.
But what is the scientific basis? Tell us then.
Okay. Thank you. I got it, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
क्या नाम था आपका? ये बोलो। इसमें कौन सा है आपका? नहीं नहीं ये वाला। हाँ? अनिल जोशी। कौन सा एमिटी? Oh, PDF will not work. Okay, PDF is not working. I have to give just 2 minutes.
We'll be taking 2 minutes.
Open in my system, but it can be connected.
Okay.
Size more. Share over. Already shared.
लोगों देखना Zoom में शेयर करना स्क्रीन शेयर वो
एक मिनट करता हूँ। एक मिनट से करते हैं स्क्रीन शेयर करते हैं। एक मिनट कहाँ गया क्यों वो कहाँ गई पीपीटी कहाँ गई फर्स्ट वन Okay.
Next, we have Ms. Meghna Joshi.
Can I start? You have 10 minutes. Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Meghna and I am the founder of a social enterprise based out of Delhi by the name of Swan Livelihood, wherein Swan stands for Skilled Workforce Advancing Nation. I am also associated with the Delhi Skill and Entrepreneurship University, and my mentor, Dr. Punita Dohan, is a part of the study. The title of my study is Skill Development in Retail Sector, wherein we are focusing more on empowering youth coming from the economically weaker section of the society between the age group of 18 to 30 years. So Indian retail sector, when we talk about, it has got 15 million traders and nearly 50 million employees. We know that largely in all the malls and the showrooms that we visit, we get to see the frontline staff members who are, answering to most of our queries. And largely they come from the economically weaker section of the society. Hence, there is a need to upgrade their skills so that they are able to sustain their jobs in the best best possible way. The United Nations 2030 Sustainable Development Goals 2030 also advocate the need for promoting technical, vocational, and educational and training learning opportunity as a part of SDG 4 and SDG 8. Hence, it becomes more relevant for us to revive interest in skills and also vocational trainings to make learning outcome based and also industry relevant. So this is the gap area that I found, which also led to me begin my startup. So on one hand, we were surrounded by youth who were coming from the very humble background, and we used to get to hear from them that they really wanted to learn new skills, but they are not able to find avenues in order to get themselves skilled. And on the other hand, we had employers who were really troubled by the fact that, even though the youth is skilled, however, there is a very high attrition rate that exists, particularly in terms of, employees leaving out on their job opportunities and also the jobs that they are into. So the objective was to, design a comprehensive framework so that the skill development program could be implemented in the best possible way, particularly catering to the Delhi NCR area and also focusing on the retail industry, and also finding out best practices on what could be done in order to reduce the gap area, which was the high attrition rate. So as a part of the implementation project, we discovered these 4 stages, one starting from mobilization, then enrollments and orientation of the students, theoretical and practical learning comprising of furthermore components like holding career counseling sessions, exposure visits, alumni visits, also employee engagement sessions with the students, so that they are briefed not just on the theoretical aspect, but also they gain exposure to the practical environment, which was very much needed because these were the students who came, from a very distressed background, and the entire industry setup was very new for them. Also focusing on placement and post-placement assistant formed a very crucial part because the more counseling was done on this aspect, the better retention was of the students in the particular industry in which they were placed. So starting from the mobilization, we did a lot of ways in which the data was collected, the primary data was collected. We conducted door-to-door mobilization in slum communities. We did canopy outreach, pamphlet distribution to make people more aware about the program that we were running, and also how people, youth particularly, can be benefited from this kind of program. Group discussions and telephonic interviews were also conducted. The sample that was taken was, the total sample was Delhi NCR. However, because my startup was incubated at the Ambedkar University, Delhi Kashmiri Gate area, so we, reached out to the communities, these slum clusters, which were 5 kilometers in and around the Kashmiri Gate area, and some of the slum clusters, which were the Seelam Puri area, Old Fort, Chandni Chowk, North Campus. We covered all of them and we conducted awareness drives. So out of the drives, we got a data of 223 people who were really interested in, enrolling for our programs. However, we screened out 101 youth because usually in these skill development programs, we have seen that there is a very huge gap that exists between the aspirations of the students and what, the students want to do. So we wanted to make sure that, the aspiration aligned with the outcome of our program, so that whosoever is enrolled in our program are interested in getting a job, and also they have, the backgrounds which will help us to, counsel them in a way, and also so that, they are able to sustain themselves and also their family after the complete training program. So the enrollment, once the data was collected, the students were screened. The enrollment and the orientation of the students were held at the center. And here the focus was more on inducting the students, conducting screening tests, doing one-on-one counseling to understand the weak areas and also the problems that they are facing. The focus of the entire training program was on theoretical and practical learning, wherein apart from just, briefing them, grooming their communication skills, their personality development skills, more emphasis was also put on practical drills, like, telling them about team building through various activities, also taking them on exposure visits, doing psychological counseling sessions for them, because we realized that these were the students who were, coming from a very humble background, and they had a lot of problems that they were facing, particularly in terms of their families, or maybe in terms of their financial conditions. The placement formed then again a very crucial role. Once the entire training program came into an end, we lined up interviews for these students based on their area of interest. Qualitative interviews were also conducted by the were also invited by the employers, and also we during the training program we invited the employers, the HRs of different retail outlets, to our center to interact with the students, to brief them about the working of their organization, because the entire setup was very new for those students. So the post-placement assistant then again formed a very crucial role. Once the placement of the students was conducted, this was more in the form of conducting upskilling sessions, counseling-based sessions for the students, so that they are able to retain in their respective jobs, and are also able to share problems that they were facing when they were working in different industries. So the framework that we developed was starting from outreaching in the community, then doing practical demos with them, psychological counselings. We also celebrated with the students, career counseling, company visit, alumni interaction formed another important area to boost student morale, because we felt that if the student who is coming from the same community and who is doing very well is there to motivate the students, the morale will boost, along with the placement and post placement assistance. So the conclusion is that there is even a greater need of skill development in the post COVID scenario, because we saw that a lot of jobs, a lot of organizations have revamped their working style. Many organizations are moving towards digital, closely moving towards digitalization. Also during COVID we saw that a lot of people lost their jobs. So skill development plays a very crucial role in the post-COVID scenario with the changing job needs. Also, mapping aspiration as assessments during the entire program of implementation of skill development program plays a very important role in aligning the aspirations of the students with the objectives of the program. Psychological counseling, not just of the students but also the parents of the students, has shown positive results in our project, because we realized, particularly in the case of females, parents were not very supportive in letting them go out for job opportunities. But when we counseled them, they took that initiative, they understood, and they let their daughters go for to attend the training program, and also to opt for the placement opportunities in different retail outlets. The employers were satisfied with when we implemented, when we provided our support to our employees, to the workforce who were employed with them, particularly after the particularly after placing those students, the employers showed a very good, showed a lot of appreciation, because our students got a lot of value cards, and that also boosted the morale of the students. The limitations is that it is limited, the study is limited to Delhi NCR. It is still not, this model is not explored in the rural remote cities, and the future research is that we would like to explore this model in the rural remote areas, wherein more youth could be brought into the ambit of skill based training programs. And also we would like to use technology based interventions to upskill the students of the tier 1 and the tier 2 cities, so that they are empowered. Thank you. Yes. So we had
something in the initial slide,
Yes.
maybe I have missed something.
Yes.
So you have a team of experts for counseling?
we had psychologists.
Okay.
So we had psychologists who used to, so we had developed the timetable in a way that every Monday they used to have English communication sessions, every Tuesday personality development, every Wednesday they had retail management. Then Thursday was entirely dedicated to psychological counseling, wherein psychologists used to visit our center to do one-on-one and one-on-one counseling of the students, their parents, and also group discussions.
Thank you.
Who are your sponsors or from where you get the furnitures?
Sorry, ma'am, I didn't get your question.
Who are your sponsors or from where you get these
furnitures? So my startup was incubated at Ambedkar University, Delhi, Kashmiri Gate, and I had received seed funding amount to conduct all these operations.
Doing good work.
Yeah.
Sir, would you like to ask some questions?
Excellent discussion. I am really moved by her discussion. I think in the long run, it should sustain with competency. The best wishes for you, ma'am.
Sir, I didn't get your question. Could you please?
I told that you have taken an excellent part. I appreciate your work, and in future, I want that it will sustain with competency, because without competency, it cannot work the long run. That's all to you. May God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
I have one question, sir. I'm still left. We're the last one, and we are just going to wind up the session also. So my last question is that how you will make it a research paper? Like, it's a project report basically, isn't it? And one of my comment, even I have forwarded this comment to you. That was me. I evaluated this paper, but my one question still remain unanswered. How you will convert this paper into a research paper? This is basically a project reports you are presenting, isn't it? There is a lot of requirement to make, convert it to a research paper. How you will make it?
Sir, by doing scientific study, literature review, and by analyzing the reports that have been proposed by the Retailers Association of India, because this study was done in the in the pre-COVID scenario, and a lot of things have changed during the time of COVID. So a lot of emphasis is also being put on digital media, particularly in retail sector, on which recently there have been a lot of reports that have got published by the apex body of the Retailers Association of India. So I'm planning to integrate all of that to come up with the paper, basically. Thank you.
Thank you to all the section chair members. With the conclusion, I would like to thank Ms. Nidhi discussed about the taxation support and incentives for startups and new business in India, and the awareness level of tax incentives and benefits among the novel entrepreneurs. She also discussed about due to lack of knowledge of tax planning benefits, most of the respondents do not prioritize about tax planning for their startups in their initial stages. Ms. Anju highlighted about the Pradhan Mantri Yojana scheme and how it was introduced to solve the issue of financial exclusion of a large part of population. She also discussed how the primary agenda of PMJDY is to make it possible for the weaker and low income groups to take advantage of financial services and products. Ms. Rasida discussed about scientific way to carry out bibliometric analytics for physical disability. Ms. Meghana highlighted great need for skill development in post-COVID scenario. Ms. Rajni Ratta discussed about trend of research on digital transformation in the healthcare industry over the past 2 decades. Ms. Renuka pointed out how innovation has a moderating effect on the relationship between organizational ambiguity and performance. Ms. Ranjini Tuteja highlighted research gap in sustainability reporting and corporate governance in the bibliometric approach. We thank our honorable chair, Professor Muhammad Ali, Professor Poonam Gupta, and Professor Anju for their valuable time and important suggestions throughout the sections. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, sir. Finally, we thank all the participants and students volunteer for making this sections successful. Thank you so much. And one more thing, we have a momentum to be given to Poonam ma'am, as well as the certificates to the section chair members.
These announce all the marketing scholars in the certificate session for दूसरे वाले F one में shift होता है. यहाँ पे सारे सर एक्चुअली यहाँ पे मार्केटिंग वाले स्कॉलर्स भी शायद से आ गए हैं तो F1 में शिफ्ट हो गया. अब एक बार अनाउंस कर दे.
वो तो करेंगे पहले हमारा सर्टिफिकेट हो जाए. पहले तो हमारा खत्म करें प्लीज. ओके वी अंडरस्टैंड दैट. यू हैव टू वेट. मैम आई memento de la naam है.
A small momentum to Poonam ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Now we'll be distributing the certificates.
Faculties. Now the name of scholars one by one to present it so that we can give them that.
Yes, ma'am. The first we have Miss Anju Mehra. Miss Anju Mehra. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Rashida Salmani. Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Meghna Joshi. Meghna Joshi. Thank you, ma'am. We have next Punita. Miss Punita. Okay, ma'am. Next, we have Ranjini Ratta. Okay, we'll just ask and confirm. Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Renuka Kapoor. Renuka? No, she's not there. Next we have Miss Ranjini. Rajni. Ma'am, it's done, and we have certificates for the faculties. Ma'am, would you like to speak some few words?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me. First of all, to the organizers, I must congratulate. It's a big effort, a wonderful conference, and especially this session. Thanks for inviting me, Deepti sir, ma'am. And I must congratulate all the presenters. They have done a good, you can say, piece of research they are doing. And all the best to all the presenters and all students, and especially these students volunteers for like coordinating the event very well. So I must congratulate you all. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Finally, we're just going to wind up the session in another 1 minute, and it was really okay. Ma'am, first, okay, Professor Mahmood, would you like to say something about wind up the session?
Thank you, sir. Everything is wonderful. I want to thank to the organizing team for their nice effort, as well as those who are participated in this organization in the international conference. I want to congratulate them. I hope there are a lot of knowledge dissemination, and they will be taken it in their home and think as breaking through their ideas. That's all to me, from me.
Manju ma'am, would you like to? Few lines.
Sure, sir.
Best wishes to all the participant presenters. Manju ma'am already has given this message, but we'd like to list.
Yes, sure, sir. My special thanks to the organizing team and Dr. Miklesh, Dr. Deepti Ranjan. It was a very wonderful experience to me to share the session with Mohammed Mehboob sir, Dr. Poonam, and all the presenters. Thank you so much.
Finally, I would, sir and ma'am and Poonam ma'am, you gave your valuable time, and it was really, we are very much thankful to you. And without your cooperation, without so much of patience, a lot of issues initially, IT issues were there, and we couldn't start the session in the right time. But we'll always be thankful to you for your kind acceptance of the invitations and just participating in the conference just like any other participants, and throwing some lights on how they will improve in their research journey ahead. And we will thanks to Honorable Professor Shaz, Professor Muhammad Ali. He's very busy person, and he had some chairs in Dhaka University, in Dhaka School of Economics, but he agreed in the first when I requested Professor Shaz, sir, would you like to chair one of our session? And he agreed for that thing without any hesitation. He said, you just send me the link. 7 days back, he said, send me the link, I will be in time. And he was the first one to join before I joined in the meetings. He was in this meeting, and I joined little late. So definitely this kind of spirit will definitely give a lot of message to the participants and to the researcher that research journey starts here, but it doesn't have any limitation or doesn't have any end. And you keep on doing work, and you get the suggestions from everyone, and this suggestion will definitely put you in such a platform that you will able to definitely contribute something for the society. We all are working to contribute something for the society, and research starts from there and ends there. There is no ends of research, we can say, but socially relevant research suppose you would do, because you belongs to social science branch, isn't it? So whatever research you do for the social science, definitely it will bring a lot of glory to the country and a lot of glory to the all over the world. And finally we say that the welfare of the human being, human civilization, we are most interested. That's the basic theme of any conference, any research agenda. And I will thanks Professor Mehmood Ali, Professor Poonam ma'am, and Professor Manju ma'am for their valuable times, input and suggestions, and input and deliberations throughout these sessions. Thank you a lot. Thank you a lot. We are just winding up this session. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. And your certificates are with me. I will just, and I will also try how to send the certificate to you.